Oh, how is it going? It's not too warm today. Although, I have had to turn my fan off to get my light sorted correctly, but that's fine. So, we'll see how I feel in an hour or so. Maybe change back over to slightly less well lit and slightly better cooling solution. Anthony's here. How you doing, Anthony? Hope you're doing well. Midlife Dice is here. Hell yeah. Good to have you, buddy. Jout, Xara, worked 12 hours in a furnace. It is much too warm. Yeah, that is rough. I used to run a coffee shop, and in summer that was miserable. Hey, Voltron, how you doing? It was not ideal. We had pancake machines out front, which were just big flat tops, basically. So in summer, no one wanted to be out front, because if you were out front by the tills, you were also by the pancake machines, which meant that you were sweating. But there were no windows. It was in the middle of a big unit. Yeah, it was a pain in the backside. Misk Dice is here. Hello. Existence says, good evening, rescue me from the Heresy preview. Is that what's going on at the moment? Horus Heresy preview. Let's have a look. Oh, Valrak's doing a watch along. That's, I guess, not surprising. Yeah. Not a game that I'm intending on getting into, funnily enough. Has been for the last hour, new edition and Mark II plastics. Well, I'll have a look at those. I'm a sucker for the classic looking Space Marines. Obviously, I'm not playing Warhammer 40k anymore, which, I'll be honest, I don't miss it. But I do like those classic style models. You work in palliative care. The wards were just frail. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, the last office I worked in, we had. And this is in no way me trying to be dismissive or, I'm not taking the piss, but we just had multiple women who were going through the menopause, basically. And the struggle was constantly those of us who weren't trying to turn it down to office temperature, and those of them that were turning it up to pretty darn hot. So I don't miss being there, especially in the summer. Just hopping over from Horus Heresy, hell yeah. Anyone know if you can change your name on YouTube chat? That would be in your YouTube settings. I believe that is just set up a while ago. I think YouTube or Google did like a push for a social media platform. And when they made that push for the social media platform, they changed loads of people's usernames to actual first name, second name. So your account probably just got migrated in the change. You might well be able to change it, but it's just not something I've looked at doing myself. If you're here and you haven't already, give the stream a like, please, and also thank you. Helps me get picked up by the algorithm. All of that good stuff. Drink's a bit bitty. Don't love that. Yeah, so I've got the background music on again. Please do let me know if it's too loud. In fact, let me just turn it down a little bit, because last time I had it on, well, not last time, the time before, there were multiple people complaining in the comments, but people on stream thought it was good. So, do want to get that balance right. Well, we are here to fix some lists and exciting stuff. It is episode 1 of the new season. Why is there a new season? I just figured since we were moving over to, I got round to doing a new post just to say what the rules is the wrong way of putting it, but the guidelines for how the system will work. I figured I'd just cut it off, do it as a new season, all of that good stuff there. So there were 22 people submitting lists this time round, which is more than I can do, unfortunately. So there were 4 people who submitted lists last week, or had their list looked at last week, I should say, who I did cut off. My aim is to go for 15 people, but I figured I didn't really want to just miss off 3 people. I could probably fit in 18 instead of 15, that was probably doable. Arcanus, was yours included? It wasn't Arcanus, because I had a look at one of your lists last week. So there were 4 that were skipped, given that they were looked at the week before. So the priority system, just for anyone who's tuning in and hasn't seen the pinned post, it is all pinned on the Discord where you submit the lists. What I'll aim to do is lock the channel pretty quickly, so people aren't submitting lists there and expect them to be looked at. But the way it works is any channel members who didn't have their list looked at the week before, they'll have number 1 a priority, then channel subscribers, then just general viewers who aren't subscribers to the channel, and then it goes to, after everyone on there is done, it'll be channel members who did have their list looked at last week, channel subscribers, and then on to the rest. I've just responded, Anthony, because you're Arcanus, right? Because I looked at your list last week, yours didn't make the cut on there. Hello, Dave. How are you doing? I was just saying that I was overburdened with a number of lists, which is a really nice problem to have. So anyone whose lists were looked at last week, I didn't actually get a chance to put in the list here, because they were 22, and I only had time to, well, I wanted to do 50, and I went up to 18. But you're always welcome to suffering from success. Yeah, it's a really nice problem to have. Like, I really do appreciate it. Yeah, if there's anything that you want to look at, you're welcome to post it in the normal channel and ping me. All right, so we have got a few names here that I recognise. Vesper, let's have a look. Vesper. Why not start with yours? You're a new channel member. Thank you very much for supporting, by the way. Really do appreciate it. I should do my YouTuber plug now. If you want to support the channel, support what I do, you can become a member by clicking the join channel below the... But it's next to where the bell is, where it would say subscribe if you haven't already. That's how you can support the channel. If you don't want to give me money, that's super reasonable. You just, liking, watching, leaving comments, all of that stuff really helps as well. Always appreciated. Starting with High Elves anyway, so I'm interested. Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. Because I'm starting with someone else's High Elves. Also, and I will do an official post, I know I vaguely alluded to this, I think it was on Tuesday's stream. I did my first proper coaching session last night. It was really good. I feel like it went well. I feel very positive about that as something that I can move into. So I will be putting up an announcement post on Discord in the next probably week or two as to what that entails if people are interested. But if you are interested in coaching and you want to sign up ahead of the boat, feel free to shoot me a message on Discord and I will get back to that one. Midlife Dice was expecting to see some Wood Elf lists today. There is one. I think it's yours. Midlife Dice, I think you're Beltane Bros on Discord. Is that correct? See you later, Anthony. Have a good one. Capybara, nice to be back after submitting my list later. Yeah, no worries. I'm not perfect with it because there's so many people who submit, but I try and prioritize the people who submitted a list but got cut off last time. Yeah, you are the only Wood Elf list, and it's funny. We'll go through it. We can do it after this High Elf list, but it looks like a list that I would write, and I don't mean that to say that you've copied my list. It's just I'm looking down it and going, oh, these are all of the decision points that I would make. So then I think there's like 1 or 2 tweaks I'd make, but it's pretty much a carbon copy of the things that I like in that detachment, so I think it's a good start. But maybe we're both wrong. Alright, let's get to it. So, Vesper's High Elves. Yeah, sure, just shoot me a message. Like I said, I'll be putting an announcement post up in the next couple of weeks, but it might take me a little while to get everything sorted. So, if you want to get ahead of that, feel free to shoot me a message on Discord, and I will probably not respond tonight, but over the weekend I'll be picking up that sort of thing, doing some other general admin as well. Cool. So, Vesper's High Elves. In fact, what I need to do is make sure I'm reading all of the text to go with these, because most people put a good amount of information with their posts. So let's just find Vesper's here. Let me have a look. Also, thank you to everyone who submitted the JSON files. There are a couple of you who submitted the files and they didn't work, Jordan and Gardison. I appreciate that you submitted them, but for some reason it didn't work. I don't really know why that would be. I'm struggling to think of a compelling reason for that. Where on earth was this? Oh, it was submitted before I put the announcement up, so I just need to go further here. This chat. Oh! Apologies. Oh, sorry, Anthony. I think I've combined you in my head with... Let me have a look. Are you Arcanis, Anthony? Remind me. Okay, there we go. So Vesper's list was called Elf Hellmarch. So the comment for this one, I'm not sure this is entirely competitive. It obviously is infantry based, and PG Phoenix Guard aren't the best thing in the world, but they go fast in this and serve as a good bunker for 2 very good archmages and are geared towards vomiting out static combat res. Everything else in the list is meant to be relatively independent, clear chaff, or hunt things down. Make sure I've got the right list here. Oh no, it isn't this one. Whose list is this? Have I just copied someone else's list? I need to fix that in a second. You submitted to like a noob. Oh, okay. Did you... So... there we go. I must have looked at your second list, not your first one. Perfect. So Anthony, sorry. Because your list was looked at last week, I haven't been able to get to yours just because of the amount that was submitted. There were 22 that were submitted. But again, if you want to shoot me a message in the... Oh, God, I can't remember. Was it High Elves for you as well? Cool. I've got your second list, Vesper. Great stuff. Anthony, if you want to either shoot me a direct message or post in the correct channel and then tag me, I'll have a look at your list off stream. And I'll actually remember to do it this week. I'm not busy this weekend, unlike the last time I said that. Apologies for the delay in getting back to you last time. Cool. So, Vesper's list. Was there anything posted with this one? It says, 2k, why not? Evening Forever the Skeptic. How you doing? Hope you're well. Cool. So there's no text with that one. That's fine. This is a fairly self-explanatory list. So this is a interesting list. You've got the Sisters of Avalon, and then you've got no real support for them. So in my eyes, if you're playing the Sisters of Avalon, you need to have an Elementalism caster to teleport them around. That's the sort of minimum to support them. Then you've got the Illyrian Reavers that I assume might be protecting one of the Archmages, or are both the Archmages going in with the Dragon Princes? Buddy, Anthony, you send me whatever list you fancy. I'll have a look at it for you. It's not a problem. Don't put it in the Fix My List channel. Just shoot me a DM or put it in the correct channel and at me. Both into the Dragon Princes. Okay, cool. So, in that case, I would not be bothering with the Ruby Ring of Ruin here. So you've gone Battle Magic and Illusion. So this is like you're just going full Death Star. I don't hate the full Death Star. I don't think it's the most competitive thing in the world, but I don't think it's bad. So let's start there. Cool. Yeah, because obviously Blood of Calidor means that you're impetuous, which means you're definitely getting into combat. But so you know what? Screw it. Let's see some violence. Thought processes Sisters are a screen. So that, I think, it's a very expensive unit to screen with. But also, if you do that, if they get charged at one end, they are going to disappear. The way that it's been FAQ'd, skirmishers have to be able to move their move distance to rank up. Any that can't reach where they would rank up to just die. So if you get charged at one end of the unit, the like 2/3 of the unit will just disappear. So it's quite dangerous to string them out. Okay, so what do we got? So we got the Handmaiden there, and then we are just going double into the battle magic. So we've got a bunker of 10. Unless you change to open order. You can change to open order, but then they're not screening. But that's not awful, you know, just having a big unit with the Handmaiden to force people to come towards you. So this is just going to lose into dragons, I think. I don't really see how you would ever deal with the dragons. And I think it's going to... Actually, it might be okay into Undead, if you get the charge off. So let's put some magic resist in there. So you've got the Lawmaster's Cloak, which is really good, but we're also going to want to see a Spell Eater Axe for Magic Resist too, because you really don't want to get Miasmic Miraged. So this one... Do you have enough points for a Dispel Scroll as well? Because we're going double on the Death Star, right? So you've gone Silvery One, Seed of Rebirth, Lawmaster's Cloak, Spell Axe. Okay, so we can't put the Lawmaster's Cloak in here. Cloak of Beards is interesting. I guess it is Terror immunity if you get charged by dragons, but I don't know that I'd want that. What leadership are they? 9? 9 here. Hey, thank you, Anthony. Just wait for it to come up on stream. Oh, I don't know if it sees the little animated fox on stream. But thank you very much. I appreciate you. Maybe this list needs a high magic for walk between worlds to reserve move, and then you can switch between open and skirmish. Yeah. So in this case, both of the wizards are going into the big unit Dragon Princes. So this is just Death Star Central basically, which you know what I'm not opposed to. We are ever so slightly over. I wonder if smaller units of sisters might work as a screen. So yes, I agree, but the problem is you can only have one in core, so then you've got to start messing around with your points, which is the issue. Oh yes, I was going to take the Reaver Bow off. The Reaver Bow is not worth taking. So basically, for 40 points, you're getting a second attack. It's not super worth doing. And yes, it's Strength 5, AP 1, Armor Bane 1, which is cute, but it's not worth the 40 points. So we can take that off, put the Ruby Ring of Ruin on there. And then the Archmage has got the Spell Eater Axe, and suddenly we're supporting that bunker, that big Death Star, a lot better. It is going to hit hard. I don't hate that at all. You have gone Great Weapon here. Is that better? I think it's fine. You've gone Battle Banner. Can they have the Battle Banner on here? No, it's max at 50. Okay. To block Impetuous, etc. Okay, if you're wanting to do that, I think let's remove that. Let's change this to... Where's it gone? Oh, the Seafarer. There we go. Keep this like so, and then suddenly you've got the Illyrian Reavers that can Impetuous block, but you can also go a couple of Great Eagles. I think this is probably like a better solution for not being frenzy baited. These are like good screening units. The problem with having something like Sisters in front when you're trying to Impetuous block, if you decide you want to charge, and keep in mind that Dragon Princes have a long charge range. They've got an 8-inch move, plus the 6, so 14, plus the 3 for Swift Stride, so 17 declarable. Sisters only have a 11-inch declarable charge, so if you decide you want to charge, someone could be 11.5 inches away from you, and you just wouldn't be able to charge them, and then next turn they could charge you for free. So that's not a good screening unit for Impetuous. But the Great Eagles, they actually go further because they've got Fly 10 and Swift Stride. So even though they are a little bit squishy, I mean the Sisters are squishy as well, but these two here, they can go in front of you and then you can still get the charge in. Just thinking they can get baited into fights they don't want to be in and get outmaneuvered. That's a lot of points that are doing something, just not what's optimal. Yeah. Hey Harry, hope you're doing well. I think a couple of Great Eagles and then this unit of Illyrian Reavers potentially work better to block Impetuous. So in this list, let's actually go a little bit smaller because we probably are going to put them in open order. And then let's just double up on the Illyrian Reavers. I think that gives you a better and more flexible unit here to do what you're doing. Oh, and let's take the short bows off them because you're probably not actually going to shoot with them all that much. And if you do, it's only short bows. Like, they're nice to have, but at 10 points for the unit, I'm kind of just like, whatever. You're just going to slam in with the Ring of Fury, and we can go back to a 16th one. Yeah, so for what you're doing, I think this is something I like. You can go, let's say, 9 wide with the Handmaiden in the front rank, and this unit, sit them on a hill, do a decent amount of shooting. They will attract a lot of attention, and they are, 600 points if they die, because of the Handmaiden's general points as well. However, it's a lot of attention that has to come towards them, they can do a lot of shooting, and then all of the rest of the points are tied up in the Death Star, all the points that matter, and they can run around killing basically whatever they want. Second unit of Sisters are for you're at a loss. Cool. Yeah. I think this does what you're trying to do. I've been thinking about playing a full violence list, which would be I'll copy and paste this one. But if you wanted to play around with it a little bit more, you could do You probably don't need 3 characters in the Death Star. I was thinking something like 2 units of 6 Dragon Princes with a character tied up in each of them. 3 units of Illyrian Reavers, like this, and then 1 unit of Silver Helms with a unit champion and the Ring of Fury. So you've got 3 skirmishing units of Illyrian Reavers and a single unit of Silver Helms, all with the Ring of Fury. 2 units of Dragon Princes, and then you go like a Wizard in a unit, a BSB in a unit, and a Dragon. And that's just sort of like the full send list. Or maybe even just go 2 Dragons and leave the Dragon Princes on their own. And then, like I say, run a couple of Great Eagles to try and Frenzy block. Or, it's not Frenzy block, Impetuous block. So, yeah, I think something like this works well for what you're trying to do, though. Let's go at Vesper. Boom. And thank you for joining the Discord. It says that you're new to the Discord. Glad to have you. I think if I am correct, you joined so that you could play in the Open Order Summer Sesh League. I could be wrong with that, but if those of you who are channel members who haven't seen it, there is a Warhol League going on, not run by me, but run by 2 of the channel members, Jordan and Morr More Beastmen content. They are running it, and there is a section in there, the OOSS banter channel and list submission. You'll be able to see all the information in there. I just thought the content was cool. Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Cool. All right, let's talk Wood Elves. It's in the thumbnail, so we should probably just go straight to that one. So, let me see if this works. Okay, so the problem is I had to do this one on New Recruit, and I've also got lights covering half my screen, because my setup is just a little bit of a pain in the backside. But that's okay. So if we go... crouching down as if I'm trying to see under something. Alright, that'll have to do. It's not ideal, but this is... unfortunately, New Recruit is up to date with Wood Elves, and Old World Builder isn't. So this is the way we're going to have to show this list. Perfect. Okay, let's have a look here. So we've got an Orion's Wild Hunt list. On the subject of Wood Elves, what do you say to those who think Sister of the Thorn can't choose a signature spell and must go with a spell randomly roll for? So the argument is that because they're not a wizard, the rules that talk about randomly determining spells, let's just pull those up, they specifically reference wizards. So if I just go wizard here, I think they should be able to, if we're just making it work in terms of spell generation. Here we go. So determine the spells your wizard knows, roll a d6 equal to the level of wizardry, re-rolling duplicate results, and the results show which spells your wizard knows. And then if we look at the Sisters of the Thorn, the FAQ'd version of Deepwood Coven is randomly generated by the controlling player. So I would argue that they should be able to swap to the signature spell, but just double check with your TO beforehand. I think, like, there is a rules as written argument that you could say, oh, but they're not technically wizards, so they don't get to. I don't think it's cut and dry. I would, like I say, check with the TO beforehand. Alright, so we're going to look at this Orion's Wild Hunt list. Let's just remind ourselves what we get. No level 4 wizards. It's rough. We get the ability to buy talismanic tattoos. We can give Glade Riders, Warhawk Riders, and Beast Packs Furious Charge. And you can nominate a large target, a monster or a character, as the prize trophy, and you get to reroll ones to hit and wound against the nominated unit. And you get a bonus 100 victory points. So let's just go through the list. So the characters are always going to be the interesting thing, in my opinion, for Wood Elves, the way that it stands at the moment. We've got a captain, who is a BSB, and is carrying the banner of the Wild Hunt. So if I just show that one here... Oh, God. This is less user-friendly. Here we go. So you can get +1 to combat result just in general. You don't even have to charge, but also you reroll pursuit rolls. So you're assuming that you're going to win combat, and then when you win combat, you get to reroll the pursuit rolls to try and catch them. It doesn't allow you to reroll the Swift Stride, but it does allow you to reroll the first 2 dice. I believe that is the way that works. But maybe someone fact check me off on that if I'm wrong. Aspect of the Hound. You're going to pick up this, which gives you rerolls of 1 to hit in the combat phase. But you can't use the General's leadership, the Glade Captain's leadership. This is a bit of a shame because 9 is good. Actually, Wild Riders might be 9 as well. Never mind. They've got the same leadership, so we don't care. And otherwise, Great Weapon Shield, Stag, Helm of the Hunt. Helm of the Hunt's a really nice item. It gives you +1 weapon skill and attacks on the turn you charge, and it improves your armor by 1. So that gets you to a 3-up save against shooting, or a 2-up save. Sorry, a 2-up save against shooting, or a 3-up save in combat, assuming you're using the Great Weapon, which you probably have to, because there's no Lancers in this army. Next up, we have got the 2 Glade Lords, and there are a couple of them. So the first one is... let's talk about this one first. This is the Dragon Slayer. I think this is a perfect loadout, although I'd probably... No, you've given him a shield already. I missed that for some reason, even though I put it in myself. So the Wild Rounder Kindred is really nice. This gives you Furious Charge, Frenzy, and Countercharge, and then Talismanic Tattoos. But it limits you to the armor you can wear. So all we've got here, Dragon Slaying Sword for Monster Slayer, Charmed Shield for a 5-up ward save once per game, and then the shield as well. Orion's Favour's really nice. This gives you reroll failed hit and wounds, and that's why the Dragon Slaying Sword is kind of actually good here. I don't think you've got the Befuddlement of Mischiefs on this character. That might be doubling down too much, but Befuddlement of Mischiefs means that you would be hitting on 3s. I think you can go either way with it. Like, I don't hate having it on the captain instead. But yeah, I like this character. Obviously, it's on a stag as well, so it's kind of tanky. T4, 4 wounds with a 3-up save, I think? Armor Tide 2, Light Armor, Charm Shield. Yeah, 3-up save, single 5-up ward. It's not bad. You've got Talismanic Tattoos in there as well for free. So these two are good. The captain and this lord are good. This Glade Lord, I do have some comments on. So you've got Aspect of the Bear, which I think is correct, and this gives you the strength and toughness increased by 1. However, you've then given him the Giant Blade, and I just think the Giant Blade is bad unless you can give it AP. Because you're getting up to Strength 6, AP 0, Armor Bane 2, Multiple Wounds 2. Arguably, the higher your strength, the worse the lack of AP becomes. Because if you were Strength 4 and you were fishing for 6s against dragons, at least all of your wounds would have Armor Bane, like AP. So I just think Giant Blade isn't it at all. Hey, Aguma, you can make a stream? Good to have you. How are you doing today? I think for me, if you're going this character, you've gone a bit tanky, and that makes sense because it is your general. So you've gone for T5, and then you've got the Mantle of Rebirth, which gives you a 5-up ward, a 5-up regen save, and it's light armor as well. So you've got a triple save here because you've gone for the Talisman as well, I believe as well. Yeah, Talisman Protection. So you've got a 3-up save, a 5-up ward, a 5-up regen, your T5, your 4 wounds. Going to be really hard to get through, but you also, I just don't think, do anything. If you want to spend points on weapons, and how many points do we have? We've got 30 points left. I think I'd be more tempted to go Biting Blade. Like, it's not exciting, but you got 4 attacks at Strength 5, AP 2, Armor Bane 1. I prefer that to 4 attacks, Strength 6, AP 0, Armor Bane 2, Multiple Wounds 2. Because you're never going to actually threaten a dragon with this thing. You've got something to threaten dragons with anyway, so the multiple wounds kind of matters less. So yeah, I think the Biting Blade here, or you could just say, screw it, let's go Great Weapon. Like, personally, I'd probably go Great Weapon here. And it says you've got Annoyance of Netlings. Isn't that the -1 to be hit in a challenge? Yeah. Yeah, so I'd say I'd save the 30 points on the Giant Blade. I'd go Great Weapon. I'd suck up the fact I'm not going to use, you know, a magic weapon, and I'd just pay for the Resplendent of Luminescence. God, that's hard to say. Which gives you magical attacks, so you're not even worried about ethereal. And then, worst comes to worst, you can just sit there with a hand weapon shield and tank a dragon a little bit better, but I still think that's never going to work out. So I think tweak the general's loadout just a little bit. The other direction you can go is you can keep the Giant Blade and instead go for Aspect of the Boar, which gives you AP 1 on the turn you charged, and you also get an impact hit. I still don't love this, but you can go that way. I'd rather just go tankier the way you have, and just go Great Weapon with magical attacks from the Resplendent of Luminescence. I think that's probably much better overall. So that does leave you with 16 points left to spend. I don't know if there's anything that you need to spend in the characters. I feel like you've kind of tricked them out as well as they can be. Are there any spites here that we want to put on this? Absolutely not. Great Weapon and Resplendence makes more sense. Yeah, I think... But, like, that's basically the only change I'm going to suggest. I'm going to fill out the other 16 points just because, you know, it feels wrong to leave it incomplete. But I like I said, I actually really like the list that you've gone for. So you've gone for this unit here. You've given them Drilled and Reserve Move. It's a little bit overkill, but I don't hate it because that makes them multi-purpose. Glade Knight and Musician as well. I think that's fine. With the spare points, I think I'm probably giving this unit... is it True Flight Arrows? Yeah, Ignore Cover and Quick Shot. This unit is a little bit more flexible, given that you've given them Reserve Move, unless you're specifically using them to bunker one of the characters, which actually, looking at it, you probably bunker the Glade Lord Captain, so let's not bother giving them Magic Arrows. Sorry, the Glade Lord General is what I was trying to say. This unit here, Banner of the Hunter King, gives them a Vanguard move. This unit here, 2 Wild Riders without standards, which is good because you don't want to give up points. The 3 units of Beast Packs, the Beastkeeper and Deepwood Hound, I have been converted onto seeing their use, but they do not screen. I think if you're using these to screen, you are setting yourself up for failure with the Wild Riders, in my opinion. So I actually probably, I know I've just said your list was perfect, I'd probably want to put a couple of Great Eagles in, if I could. I don't really want to drop down Scouts, because I love the 24 Scouts you've got here with the poison shooting. Can we go... How many points do we have to squeeze? 104. How do we squeeze 104 points out here? What can we drop that we don't need? So we've got... BSB... I mean... Banner of the Wild Hunt is nice. I think because you're getting the combat res and the reroll pursuit, we keep that. Befuddlement of Mischief definitely goes in the list somewhere. Aspect of the Hound is good. I think we just drop the shield. Like, you're always just going to use the Great Weapon. I think we just suck it up and say that if you needed to use the shield, too bad, so sad, you were going to die anyway. Oh, that's pinching pennies to save pounds. Okay. We'll maybe come back and do that. Over here... This character I do like the Annoyance of Netlings on, because this is the one thing you can kind of throw into someone to tie it up for a turn or so. And then you've got this as well. Okay, so let's look at shaving some points. Let's drop the Reserve Move, because if you've got Drilled... Although I guess Drilled plus Reserve Move is ridiculous. Maybe we drop the Spirit of Kurnos, because you probably don't want them to be impetuous. I'm actually going to take that off, because I think if you're putting the Glade Lord in with them, which is where I think they go... Beast Packs, I pre-ordered them and I want to test them. I do have 3 Great Eagle models. Buddy, I think you put both in the list. I think these are still good. I think they still do work for 19 points a unit. But I just think you also want the Great Eagles, in my opinion. So I'm going to drop the Spirit of Kurnos here, because I think it's the bunker for the Glade Lord, and I think not having them be impetuous is probably correct. But then they just hit, like... Well, they don't hit. Alright, no, that's going back in. God, this is hard to tweak. I think I've just got to cut some Deepwood Scouts. What if I go to 3 units of 6? How does that feel? Ugh. Still have to... Okay, so we go... Let's say we go 2 units here, 2 units of Eagles, and we've dropped the Deepwood Scouts. I'm not happy about dropping the Deepwood Scouts, but I also don't know that you want to drop the Wild Riders any lower, and I don't want to drop anything off the Glade Riders. Oof. This is tough. We'll keep the shield here. We don't need to drop it. We'll keep the shield here. You've got the charm shield here. Yeah, man. I guess let's also give it... I want to give him a cheap magic weapon as well, in case he has to fight in combat. Sword of Might is probably better. Where's that? Down at the bottom? Sword of Battle. Because obviously it's an extremely common item, so you can have that on top of the other one. And then if you fight someone who doesn't have dragons, at least you get some use out of it. Oh, is it not allowing me to click multiple weapons? Sword of Might. Dragon's Longsword. Huh. Okay, I'm just going to leave 15 points shy, because I think you can take a Biting Blade as well. So we just need to shave 10 points to get there, and that I don't have a problem in doing. So here, I think, because you've got 3 characters, one of the Wild Riders can lose the unit champion, and then you need to shave 3 points somewhere. God, this is tough. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave it at this, and I'm going to say, just for the sake of not making people sit here and watch me agonize over 10 points, I would recommend finding an extra 10 points in the list, and that way you could put a second magic weapon on the character who really sucks if he doesn't have any dragons to kill. Alright, some Wood Elf wooding there. Let's go back to just reading the rules on bound spells, and it reads, possessing a bound spell does not make the model a wizard. Maybe the sisters can't choose a sig spell because the spell they're casting is a bound. Yeah, like, I think the problem is it wasn't written, it was FAQ'd, and they haven't looked at how it interacts. So, like, rules is written, you can argue that it doesn't work, but I'd double check with my TO and see what they would rule, because I think most would say, yeah, of course you can roll into it. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong with that one. And you're welcome, Midlife Dice. Who else have we got here? Have we got anyone here who wants me to have a look at their list while they're at the place? Sorry, responding to a message. Probably should do that off stream. Hey, Ed. I hate your list. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Voltron, perfect. All right, so what I'll do is I'll go Capybara Eater first, because they've mentioned that they have to leave at some point. Then we will go to... Let me order these. This is going to be the easiest way of doing it. So I'll go Capybara first. Then I'll go Ed M. And then Voltron as well, who I think was up near the top. What have I done with your list? There we go. Chris Frozen. I swear I recognise your name from somewhere. Matthew's here as well. Hey, Matthew. How are you doing? Chris Frozen. I'm terrible with names, but I'm good with faces. And the little thumbnail of your face is not actually showing up very well. So apologies if we have met and I'm just completely blanking on you. Because for some reason your name is ringing a bell. You're moving out tomorrow, so it's a nightmare of scheduling. Oh, God, that's rough. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully you've got someone nice lined up. That would be ideal. You're everywhere, mate. Okay. See, I do feel like I recognise the name. Are you a 40k player? Is that where I might know you from? Anyway, I'll get back to it. But yeah, I'm gonna puzzle that out because I'm curious as to why I recognise you. Fantastic. All right, so Capybara had some questions about a list, and I'm just gonna go find it. But I think this one was a started. I think you were a starting player. Let me have a look here, Capybara. Can't decide what to run for the Oos. Trying to think of something new for Orcs and Goblins. We've got some interesting lists from Orcs and Goblins in today. Oh man, streamer mode is causing me issues. Sorry, I'm aware that I'm talking at sort of half brain speed. The heat is catching up, and I think I'm really struggling to brain. Let me just fix this, because I need to be able to think. I think I'm just overheating. Let's have a look here. Alright, I do need to just move for a second to turn on my fan. There we go. Whew. Ed can't remember names or army restrictions, yet here we are. I genuinely have been struggling. I think now that I've got that fan pointed at me, I'll be okay. Hopefully that's not coming through as any sort of, like, excessive background noise, but do let me know if it is. Okay, Capybara Eater. This is a casual list for playing with my friends. Isn't supposed to be particularly unmet, but I'm a newer player, so I'd appreciate some help refining it. Big fans of magic and large creatures of Mortuary Cult, more than open to trying stronger alternatives. You've landed on possibly the strongest army in the game. Top 2. It's either Bretonians or Mortuary Cult. So, they are pretty good. Although there are definitely some tweaks that we can make here. So, the list you've got the Achievements of Tomb Scorpions, you've got the 2 Necrosphinxes, 2 Caskets of Souls. This used to be more meta, double Casket of Souls, when they stacked. As it stands, their Light of Protection doesn't stack. It's been FAQ'd so that it doesn't. I think it's Covenant of Power that it's under. The English T3 meets its nemesis flaming attacks. How dare you, sir? It's the Northern T3. Whichever one of these rules is. Anyway, you can't stack their Light of Protection, which is their defensive spell. So you see this less, but I still kind of like the double Casket of Souls. I would prefer to see in here some Screaming Skull Catapults. How many points you got? Let's go at least 1, because you're wanting to use the Skulls of the Foe, which is modifying the leadership if you're going to try and use the Casket of Souls as damage. Maybe it's a noob thing, but I've been using it as nukes. So I'm yet to try the Light Spell. The Light Spell is the strongest thing about them. However, the nuke spell is also incredible. It's really strong, and you just want to line it up, and that's why we're going to put a Screaming Skull Catapult into here. Other than that, you've gone 2 level 4s and a level 2. That's pretty standard. And you've gone for a unit of Skeleton Archers, some Tomb Swarms, some Skirmishers, and the Horse Archers. We're going to get rid of the... In fact, let's not get rid of the Horse Archers, because you've got a Skeletal Steed unit here. Tried the Catapult once per across 3 games, hit once and blew up twice. Happy to give it another go, though. Yeah, that is the downside of artillery. But you don't actually care about hitting. What you're really trying to go for with this is the Skulls of the Foe rule. So basically, you hope that you don't scatter too far, but the max you can scatter is like 10 inches away. So then you just have a 2d6 bubble where everyone inside it is at a -1 to their leadership, which means that when you're trying to scream them to death, you're going to have a lot more success with that. So this is good there. Resurrect an Empire Engineer and use him for the catapult. That is an excellent idea. But Tomb Kings are at least from an ancient society, I believe, so it makes sense that they don't have the same technology as the Empire today. So I am always worried about flying carpet. So what you'll find with this guy is if you put him on a flying carpet, he's going to die to Pillar of Fire because he can't join units when he's on a flying carpet. So let's just go with... take him off the flying carpet. And he's got Elementalism. Then you've got Necromancy. So this guy here can just be a level 1, because really all you're going to do is you're going to go into Elementalism, you're going to roll in the Law, and then you're almost always going to swap into the Cursed Blades. Jaff's Incantation of Cursed Blades. Cast on a 7, so you often don't even need to bother sucking wounds from the Scorpions, and you get reroll 1s on the Poison Shooting Brick. The Light Spell is one of the best things. It creates some very difficult situations for the opponent. I agree. But sometimes you just want to blow them up. That is solid. So these are good, these good. This is good to have around for the High Priest on foot to make sure he doesn't die. I like 8, because that way that they actually get to survive. And here, the Ushabti, you definitely want an Ancient. If they get charged by a dragon, they're never winning the combat, so you may as well just minimise your losses and try and tie them up as long as possible. So we're currently 71 points over. How are we doing here? Ruby Ring of Ruin is fine. It's not necessary, but it's fine. Oh, and your general because you're general, you're always going to cast with first. You take an Earthing Rod. This is a little bit of Tomb King tech. Basically, it's not extremely common, so you can't take other arcane items, but you really want your lore spells, your lore of Nikara or whatever it is, so you can't take a lore familiar, which means you take the Earthing Rod, and then when you miscast for the first time, your general, which you'll be using the reserve move spell with, you get to re-roll the result. And that's important, because for Mortuary Cult, if you miscast on your first spell, you can just lose the game because of it. Cool. So, yeah, we go with that. Elementalism's fine. I might be more tempted to go double Necromancy. I think you had Necromancy on this one. Let's just double check. Yeah, so you had 1 Elementalism, 2 Necromancy. I think Elementalism on the Mortuary Priest, but you're always, or almost always, moving into Jaff's Cursed Blades. Elementalism or Necromancy here, and definitely at least 1 Necromancy. If you're going double Casket of Souls, I prefer double Necromancy, but it does mean that this unit doesn't get to TMP around, which is a little bit of a rough one. Pat, you're late, but you made it at least for some of the live stream. You're here for over half it, and we haven't done your list yet, Pat, so we can get to that one. No worries, Capybara. You've not done badly. You've not done badly with your blind guess. So normally you wouldn't run Skeletal Horse Archers, and you just run this character on foot, but especially if you're newer to the game, I don't hate having this character on a horse with a little bit of support here to keep it alive. Again, we're probably going to go a little bit bigger, and let's go for a unit champion as well. And that means that when you've got this character in here, skirmishing and running around, you're not... Oh, wait, hold on. Is the Skeletal Steed heavy? So it can't actually join this unit. Oh, no, they can go open order. Okay, you've got to go open order, or you can just leave them in skirmish and you can go next to them. So the reason that the High Priest can't join them in skirmish is because he is... his Skeletal Steed is heavy cavalry, and they are light cavalry. So I actually think, let's just bin off the Horse Archers altogether. It's just causing you too much issue. Let's go on foot, and let's just go another unit of skeletal skirmishers on foot. And that should... Oops, I've duplicated instead of deleting. That should help you keep your very expensive and important wizards alive, giving them some protection here from Pillar of Fire, some charge protection, all of the good stuff there. Okay, cheaper, but that's not a problem at all. Okay, we'll put him back on a horse. So it is better to not have him on a horse for the reasons of not being able to join. But what you can do is you can have the Skeleton Horseman, have him not in the unit, but have him sort of within, like stood next to or inside the unit, and just use their lone character targeting protection here. That's absolutely fine. That's not a problem. Hold on, not Skeleton Horseman. We want Skeleton Horse Archers. There we go. That's better. And again, you could actually join and be an open order, but especially on like anyone who's going hexes heavily, I really value the ability to have a 360 line of sight casting. We're a little bit over here, so I think maybe we just drop one Ishabti, and maybe we just go slightly up with the Skeleton Archers here. Oh, you definitely want a unit champion, because this unit's going to get charged, and you just want to repeatedly challenge people out. So let's just go, there we go, 39. Open order for the reserve move has some benefits. That's true, that is true. You can put them in with reserve move, because Horse Archers have reserve move inherently, so they can be a little bit more separate from the rest of the army. Yeah, it's not bad. Like, you can play around with it. And how many points are we over? 58 points over. Scorpion, Scorpion, Sphinx, Sphinx, Casket, Casket, Catapult. Well, we're just going to have to cut something. I don't know what we cut here. The problem is you have to go so much core that fitting everything else in is difficult. I think, because you said you specifically like magic and monsters, I'm not going to say cut the Necrosphinx. I think I quite like 2 when you don't have a Dragon Lord. If it helps, then happy losing the horses. So you're still basically at core. You're not over on core. So we can't take anything out of here. It would have to be something around here. Tomb Scorpions have to stay. So it's got to be Necrosphinxes, Catapult, or Casket of Souls. Maybe we just say screw it and we're going to drop the Catapult. Like, it objectively would be good to have in the list, but we just can't make it work on top of also taking double Casket, double Necrosphinx. And then it matters less than you've got only a single necromancy instead of 2. That's not the end of the world. At that point, we can just go back up with the 6th Shabti, and I quite like 4 Tomb Scorpions. It just makes them a little bit easier to play around with, so we can go back down to 35 on the Skeleton Archers. And I don't think... So this is not, like, cutthroat optimized. If you wanted that, just literally look at any Mortuary Cult list that's winning events. You're probably running 1 Casket of Souls, you're probably running a bigger poison shooting brick, but it changes the way the list plays, and I would say a little bit of an unpleasant way for the your opponents, and if you're playing with friends and you're not necessarily looking as a here's my straight into tournament list, I'd go with something like this. It's still very good. It's still a very good list. Okay. Let's have a look at Ed's list here. You are welcome, Capybara. As I say on all these streams, if someone is here and sees the stream, and I, go through their list, and they have comments after the fact, or if they play it and they go, actually, this doesn't work the way I thought it would, feel free to post in the channel for that army, so it'd be Tomb Kings here, and then at me, and I'll have a look at what tweaks you wanted to make. So, Ed M. Now, Ed has got allies in here, and I was just vaguely arguing with someone about allies off this, so inconvenient timing. But I think you get a little bit of a pass, because I know what you're like as a person. I don't feel you're necessarily particularly trying to ruin everyone's day, having talked to you a lot. I think allies with the Falconhorn and Pegasus Knights, I think is bad for the game overall. But if you're playing it for the theme or with friends, that's fine. You do what you fancy doing. So maximizing the list within what you've gone for. You've gone for 1,500 points of Empire and then 500 points of Allies. So you've got a Paladin with the Falconhorn in 5 Knights of the Realm on foot with great weapons. This makes sense. You've got 12 Peasant Bowmen to get you over that. To get you exactly to 125 points of core. And then you've got the 4 Peg Knights as well, with the Hand Weapons, Lancer Shields, Banners, Shalons. I'd like to see a unit champion here, but I think you're just too squeezed on points, so that makes sense. Then the rest of the list is pretty independent. You've only got a single Engineer. I don't like having the Ruby Ring of Ruin on there, but I also don't know how you fix that, because you're really squeezed on points. Triple Cannon and a Steam Tank. I actually think I'd rather see 2 Engineers. In fact, let's just do that. Let's just say... Get rid of this. Go like this. We're 11 points over. We need to cut 11 points from here. At which point we just go... What do we take off? I guess we go down to 7. We're 12 points missing. Give them command. Something like that. The Peg Knights could be Demigryphs. Ed, it was a general point. That... Sorry you kind of caught astray there, because it's not really a comment about you. It's more a comment about how I'm concerned about this becoming a thing if allies become playable at, less casual level and more tournament level. I'm worried about the effect and the homogeneity of that. But, it's not a problem yet. I'm just expressing my concerns for the future. So, yeah, not trying to pick on you specifically. But yeah, something like this, I actually think I prefer the double Engineer to... Because then you can split up the Great Cannons as well. Although you haven't got the Hellblasters. Ooh, so maybe we do just go for the single Engineer. You can probably get away with one. I don't love the Ruby Ring of Ruin on the Engineer. For the reason being, you've got to be back with the cannons, and you want the cannons to be not chargeable, which means that you might not be within range. But it's fine, I guess. Allied Falconhorn is a little war crime. yeah, no, it's very war crime, I think. But having met Ed, I'm comfortable in saying that he is not the next coming of insert dictator here. So, yeah, I guess we just go back to how the list was. Let's have a look. I think you've maximized this very well. You could... How many points are we on here? 100 here. Double Power Scroll, Lore Familiar, White Cloak, Illusion Caster. I think this is really solid. The Ward Save, because it's the General, is probably good. The Illusion stops you from just losing to Dragons or enemy Pegasus Knights, potentially. So I think this is a really well-optimized Wizard Lord. I don't know where I put the Ruby Ring of Ruin on this Engineer, and you probably don't need a second one if you're only running 3 cannons, so that's fine. The core is good. You've got the Knights of the White Wolf, who are really solid, and then you've got the more budget Empire Knights without giving up standard on here. You don't so much need a Musician because you've got Drilled. I'd still like to see one, but points are points. And Wood Elves suddenly have something to spend the 500 leftover points on after core and 1,000 point characters. Yeah, so, and again, I'm harking back to my previous disagreement. This is not... I'm not trying to argue with you. I think that every army that can ally with Bretonnians, just taking the, say, 500 points, is horrendously bad for the game. I think that is awful, and if that became standard, I would probably stop going to tournaments, because I don't have to play against the Falconhorn 5 times. I think it really concerns me in terms of the direction of the game. The other idea was getting more MSU core, so more drops. I'm not getting so many drops, I'm not getting the +1 already. Yeah, at that point you might want to go scouts. But I think you've optimized this well for what it is. Like, instead of the steam tank, I think maybe I'd prefer to see 2 Hellblaster volley guns. But if you like the steam tank, it does provide a role. Vesper, Falconhorn should be a single-use unique, prove me wrong. I'm hoping that it goes that way sooner rather than later, but Beastmen are... Never mind. Yeah, so yeah, I think you've optimized this list well. The only change I might make is drop the steam tank for 2 Hellblasters, but I also know how you roll. So the steam tank might be better for you, because even if you misfire with that, you just take like a wound, and it's still like a big pile of stats. I don't think anyone would mind it being deleted, to be honest. I'd be very in favour of it being deleted. And people are going to be like, oh, of course, because you play dragons. Just do it at the same time as you nerf dragons. Like, please. It's only leadership 8 without a reroll, which I've also failed a lot. What's the leadership for? Do you mean the steam tank? Steam tank's unbreakable, right? Yeah, the steam tank's unbreakable, so I assume you're not talking about that. Yeah, no one flies. That would be... Oh, right, the horn is leadership 8. Yeah, I'll be honest, whether, like, so that's going to go off like 64% of the time, I think, or something like that. 64, 68, somewhere in that realm. Honestly, it's partially the psychological aspect of just having to play 6 turns against someone who's like, oh, well, I've got the Falconhorn, so I'm going to blow that now. It's like, oh, cool, so I probably can't do any of my game plans. But yeah, like I say, I want it nerfed, but I also want dragons to be nerfed, so everything has to come at the same time. I don't want one thing to be hit before. I'm not going to copy and paste this one, Ed, because I think your list is optimal. Like I say, if you want to roll some misfires, change them over to Hellblasters, but otherwise I think it's solid. Ed, can you do one more list before mine? I absolutely can. That's not a problem at all. Who have we got next, then? So we'll move yours down. I saw Pat in the chat. Or something like that. A poet, and I didn't even know it. Pat van der East, are you, by any chance, Pat who has the Knights of Morr list? Because if so... Hey! Fantastic. Yeah, I've got your list here. I think... let me just scroll up, because you posted 2 things. It was the same list, but you just reposted. I think it was just like a polite apology, but I do want to say... You know, if you've posted your list in the channel and you didn't know that, you know, the procedure, don't feel the need to apologise. That's just me doing my job badly and trying to make it user-friendly. But yeah, you said you're a returning Fantasy Battle from the days of 6th edition. You were an Empire player and you maintain a fondness for them, even if they're iffy due to their lack of answers to Dragon Screams and all of the stuff that's good and competitive. I editorialised there slightly. More players a chance, they just don't care. Hell yeah. You love a strong theme. You want to go around the more Shalia dualism. I'd love to maintain one of these elements at least. Knights of Morr with a strong magic support. Hate to do it, but I've avoided artillery. Yeah. And it pains me since I love a good infantry block, but life, aka 6 turns, is just too short if your movement is 4. Poetic. Poetic. Let's have a look at your Knights of Morr then. So, you've got... I need to remind myself what the Knights of Morr gives you. I know it gives you the ward save against non-magical attacks. Hatred Undead, ward save against non-magical attacks, and fear and magical attacks. Okay, that's fine. It's not actually doing much for us here, because you already have it if you're on a demigryph, but it's okay. It's a shame it doesn't upgrade to Terror. So this character, your general, is tanky, on a Demigryph, got an Ogre Blade. I wouldn't hate to see a Paymaster's Coin in here, because you've got a worse weapon skill. You're only up at 6. But you are pretty capped out, so that's hard to do. Wizard Lord on a Warhorse, Tome of Midnight, Armour of Tarnus. Tarnus is the light armour that gives you a 5-up ward save, doesn't it? Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. So that's good. And then you've got the Tome of Midnight as well, which, as we all know, is great because it gives you +1 spell known. And which lore did you go with? Demonology. I think that makes a lot of sense. Actually, no. No, Demonology I don't think makes a lot of sense, unfortunately, other than the Magic Missile. The reason being that you can't give a Demonic Vessel to a unit because you can't join them. If you're using the Tome of Midnight, the bottom line here is you've got Loner, so you can't join a unit, and you can't give them the buffs, which is unfortunate. So we probably need to tweak that. Maybe Dark Magic or just Battle Magic. I know you don't get the +1 to cast, but you know a 5th spell, so that's pretty decent. Chapter Master here, we've got... Yes, Order of the Knights and Morr. I read that wrong there. I was concerned for a second. Demigryph, twice blessed armor, Witch Hunter's Ward, that's good. Shield, the full plate of twice blessed armor, lance. On a Demigryph, yep, I like this character. Had planned on joining the Wizard Lords of the Knights. Well, one of them, the other solo. That's fine. You can just swap things around. So we'll go... What we're going to do, we're just going to swap things around right now. So the Lore Familiar... Let's make it the Tome of Midnight for this one. So this is the one I'm assuming that wasn't going to join the unit, the Elementalism caster. But the Demonology caster, we take off the Tome of Midnight and we give them the Lore Familiar. You lose out on the +1 to cast, but you still get the +1 spell known. So you still know 5 spells. I think that's really strong. Stu just painted a video painting a tree man. Oh, God, I'm going to have to look at that after this. I love Stu's painting videos. Yeah, so here is good. Honestly, with the Elementalism, is there a specific use for the Elementalism? Because Battle Magic is probably just better here, I would think. Although, actually, you could cast the ward save, not Oaken Shield, Earthen Ramparts on a unit that's going to get charged. But then they can't charge. I think I'd be tempted just to go Battle Magic here, to be honest. You don't get the +1 to cast, but you know 5 spells, so you probably get Fireball, Arcane Urgency, Pillar of Fire. All of the good stuff. Yeah, these are good characters. I like them. No points for Pillar of Fire, for Paymaster's Coin, unfortunately, though. Then you've got Inner Circle, Knights of Morr, Full Command, Witch Hunter's Ward, Icon of Morr, so they cause terror. That's good. Lancer Shield, Stubborn. This unit's great. And then 2 smaller units of the Knights of Morr. This makes sense to me. This makes sense to me. I'd maybe go 1 unit of 6 with Stubborn and Drilled. Oh. You could go 2 units with Stubborn and Drilled. But that's a lot of points that you're giving up. Tell you what, instead of the Musician, just go Drilled here. It saves you 2 points. And yes, you don't get the +1 for rallying, but part of what you've got the Musician for is the ability to march. Quick time here, +1 to the leadership. Drilled, you just don't have to test for marching. I think I'd rather have Drilled here than a Musician. 2 Demigryph Knights, 2 Demigryph Knights, 2 Demigryph Knights. I think 2 is too small. Although you are going to join characters to them. So you've got... so this unit here... Full Command, Witch Hunters... Nice. Thanks, Batasai. Glad to have you. We'll get to yours in the reasonably near future. That's fair, you're not certain, to be honest. The small knight units are for blockers and cheap dragon bait. That's a good use for them. That's a really good use for them. I'd like to give them Stubborn as well. Do we have points for that? We're a little bit over, but we can tweak. I think here we probably don't go 2-2-2. Maybe we do because you've got the characters joining them. This is difficult. This is difficult. What if we just go... We drop one of those... I don't really want to drop one of those. Drilled Stubborn is such a strong combination on the core knights. I guess Stubborn is less important when you've only got 4, so... Let's get rid of that. No, hold on. Let's cook. So we're going to give them Stubborn. We're going to give them unit champions. You said you want to try and deal with dragons. So the way you can deal with dragons the best is if you are charged, you challenge them out with the unit champion, and then you just stubborn backwards. That's the most frustrating thing for a dragon. They can test to restrain and then just charge someone else, but that is going to be causing them the biggest issues. Let's go down to 7 here. I like 8 more, but we need some points. I've been thinking of dropping something to get more in the IC block of knights for the double outnumber terror, but you see the points are quite tight. Okay, sure. If you're thinking of dropping, let's go here. Like, get rid of this unit of 2. I like these. Let's go... If you're putting the unit, the characters in, let's just upgrade so both have full command. Although you actually only have 2 models, so we can't go full command. Do we have enough to go... There we go. So 1 unit of 3, 1 unit of 2, full command-ish, but you're more likely to win combats with them. They're actually going to do something. And then here you can go up 1 more model, and we probably give this guy a charm shield as well, because if you're thinking about challenging out, you may as well just have that once per use ward save as well, because you can re-roll the full plate save with the Witch Hunter's Ward. You've got the charm shield as well. It just makes him frustratingly tanky to get through, and you're going to be using lancers and shields anyway. Espot is doing allies from army sending for me. Great. I don't know that I'll play then. Yeah. Well, just like you're allowed to take allies in Espot 3. I think that's too far away from actual Warhammer for me to be interested in playing it. Yeah, but yeah, I think this is probably the maximizing of what we've gone with. Obviously, you're going to struggle to deal with dragons and other things, as you pointed out. It's okay, Matthew. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, I think this is solid. I almost would want another powerhouse unit. So, like, I guess you can go like 2 Death Stars. You've got the Demigryphs that can Death Star and the Iron Circle Knights that can Inner Circle Knights that can Death Star. I think that's fine. I think, as you've identified, though, you're just going to struggle with the stuff that's good. I'm hopeful that there's going to be a rebalance in a couple of months, though, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Cool. I'm going to... A little too far to me, too, yeah. It is pushing homebrew, yeah. Okay, so. Voltron said that their internet wasn't great, so I'm just going to assume that they're not still great at the moment, and I'm going to go on to... I did see Batasai was here, who I think is also new to the Discord as well. Welcome. Lagging for you, but that's just you. Alright, well, what I'll do is I'll do a couple more lists. You give me a shout if it gets better. If not, I'll chuck it in anyway. And worst comes to worst, you can come back and catch any bits that you missed. But hopefully we'll get it when you're not. So Batasai... Ah, yes, this was another Tomb King player who was new to Old World. Which is funny, because Tomb Kings are truly one of the war crime detachments. But if you're coming from previous editions of Fantasy, I don't think there are any versions of Fantasy where Tomb Kings were particularly terrifying. So that's a fun little coincidence. So new to Old World, but you played 6th edition, having great success with this list, even against hard counters like Goblin Poison Blob and Mortuary Cult Poison Blob and Ushabti. Chariot Champions players chaff or help with challenges. Carrion is super helpful as they can keep up with all the flyers. I do like Carrion. Not been massively feeling the lack of magic, but it might have just been lucky. Especially rewarding against Infernal Puppet, Broken Staff, or Dwarves with magical defences. Yeah, sucks to be you paying for all those magic defences and I haven't taken them. Wonder if I should go for the level 4 on Dragon instead. Wonder if I should take less poison shots and add some more chaff or ambushing stalkers to hunt war machines. 0-3 in basic component. 4 fighting behemoths are great, except you play against Falconhorn. Yeah, that's true. Alright, so what have you gone for? Tomb King on Dragon, Mort Priest with Amulet of Serpent, 78 Archers, Skeletons, Tomb Scorpion, Carrion, Next Sphinx. This is not too far off from a team's list that I have... I wrote for Mikey from Hellstorm Wargaming for the team event that I actually ended up subbing in and playing next to him. And he had a blast playing it, especially if you're a newer player to the game. I think it's a great place to start. I think objectively, a Tomb King and a level 4 on Dragon is probably better. But this is great because you can give people issues that they're not necessarily equipped to deal with, which is not only the shooting here, but also the Necrosphinxes here. I think that's a real issue for them. Tomb Kings were great in the 6th ed. My apologies. I think it must have been sort of 7th, 8th edition that they were bad. Or maybe just 8th edition. It's been a long time since I played Fantasy. I stopped well before the end times, back in day. Also, I were just a lad, so I'm not 100% sure on everything that happened. So let's have a look at your loadouts. So I think it's better to go for the level 4. However, I really like this list still, so feel free to stay with it. And I'll recommend a build for the Lich Priest as well, if you want to go for that one. So, the General, you've gone for Shield, Talisman of Protection, Armour of Ages. This just makes a lot of sense. It's hard to argue with. I think, on this character, I guess you can only get a 5-up save between the hand weapon, the light armour and the shield anyway, so it probably doesn't actually matter. I think not contesting the magic phase to get your Tomb Kings and Necrosphinxes into combat is playing mega hard mode. Yeah, it depends what level you're playing at. I think if you want to make the list better, you can do that. Alright, let's write that version of the list. You've convinced me. It didn't take much convincing. I still like the double... I think maybe I like it more for teams where you can avoid the big, illusion casting issues. So if you're going for the level 4 on Dragon, you are going a little bit gimmicky, probably, I would say, which is you go Warding Splint, which is obviously the ward save that you can take with Lich Priests, and it also gives you heavy armour as well, so instead of getting the full plate of the Dragon, you've only got the 5-up armour save, but it's still not too bad, you get a ward save. You then want to go with the Serpent Staff, super cheap, great weapon. One of the best magic items in the game. Like, if you could just get +2 strength, +2 AP without striking last for a 20-point magic weapon, I'd be buying that quite a lot. We're going Lore Familiar as well, because we want to make sure we're getting Spectral Doppelganger, which is obviously cast on a 9, 2d6 hits. So this is the slightly better version in terms of having the magic ability. Oh god, you do lose the mobility from the reserve move spell. Chariots have reserve move inbuilt. Tomb Scorpions don't, but they kind of don't care. Carrion can fly. Necrosphinxes can march. I think it's fine. Baloo. What is this? Is it a program? Where can you download it? Is it free? This is Old World Builder. So if you go to old-world-builder.com, you'll see it's just a website which is an army builder. It's the one that I like using. It's very clean and readable. Morr Priest can take it and just roll a 9+. Yeah, that's true. You potentially could do that, although I like the Jaff's Cursed Blades in here. We've also given up the ability... Okay, maybe you don't... Maybe you go Elementalism, actually. Because then you can go for TMP. So you could go Warding Splint, and then... What would you go? I don't know that there's any magic items that are super worth taking. I have played against someone who used Elementalism on their level 4 wizard, and it was pretty effective. I did respect it. You can get disgusting flank charges with 2 lumbering moves. It's not just the pseudo march. That's true. That is true. I respect the Tomb King players' opinions. So if we're doing that, I think... Do we want to give this magical attacks? I think you don't want this character to be tied up in combat, but you've got a Kapesh, actually, so you could just... Oh, that's not magical. Let's give this model a Biting Blade instead of the Great Weapon, and that way you can still use your light armor and shield for Armor of the Ages. And it's not much of a downgrade in terms of damage. Closest to a nice thing you've ever said. Yeah. That's fair. You don't deserve me to say nice things to you. I actually don't know that we need to give this model anything else. We've got the ward save. We've got the Earthing Rod, which we talked about earlier. It's just really valuable to have. Is there anything else that's worth taking? I don't know that there is. I guess you could give it the Relic of the Dying Sun, which is not super useful here, but it's fine. Icon of Rulership. No, that's Chariots. Staff of Awakening. Is that the... Yeah, that doesn't help here. I don't really think there's anything else that I super care about. Ruby Ring. Oh, yeah, there we go. I knew there was something I was missing. Perfect. So, this is the version with the dragon, and then we'd literally just tweak to be like, here's 2 more Scouts and Archers. I like the Chariots. I like what you've done with them. I like the Tomb Scorpion. The Carrion are good. I'd almost want a second unit, but I don't really want to drop anything else. And then you've got the 2 Necrosphinxes. I think this is a good list. I think you've managed to identify a pretty solid list here. And also, it plays in a good way. Like, if you're going to tournaments, this is the sort of list that you can play pretty well without getting too much brain fatigue. You can just rock 5 games with this and not struggle too much. Whereas if you're trying to play Mortuary Cult or something like that, there's a lot of difficult decision making. Voltron is good now. Hell yeah, that's worked out perfectly. Let's have a look at your Lizardmen. I do need to speed up a little bit. I've been chatting too much. That's the problem. I enjoy the catch up on the Fridays. So Voltron said, let's have a look here. Your list was pretty far up as well, I seem to remember. This list is pretty hot. You take it out for a steak dinner and call it in the morning. You need to go outside more. Or less, I'm not 100% sure. One of the two. So this is Lizardmen. Playing objectives could go no stand and shoot banner, which is also -1 to hit for shooting cold ones as well. Okay, so that would be... Yeah, but you kind of do need the Razor standard, because their output is just so underwhelming, right? But the stand standard isn't bad. I think on the basis of it's an objective mission, like you're playing objectives, I like this more because you're also able to stand on an objective and not fall over immediately. I wouldn't mind some more points, some more wounds in there, but I guess they're very expensive for what you get. We've got the Old Blood, Great Weapon, Shield, Armor of Destiny. Great. This is a really good loadout. Obviously, this is like the tankiest you can get, I think, realistically, because the 4-up ward save is really nice, and then you still get the 5-up armor save. Maybe the 5-up 5-up's better in retrospect, but you can also go the 5-up 5-up here on the Carnosaur, like that as well. You've gone BSB, no points to make it a war banner, that's fine, it brings enough combat res. This one is Biting Blade, Hide of the Cold Ones, and Horned One. Isn't it Horned One, no stupidity, and then Hide of the Cold Ones gives you stupidity. Yeah, so you'd still be stupid, unfortunately, because you've got this. But it does give you more movement and better armor save. Playing Owl, so lots of training objectives. Right, yeah. That's it. Bodisai says, nice, thank you, looking forward to try the fixed up version. Hell yeah, let me know how you get on. That's a lot of the joy of this, is people having good experiences with their hobby time. Because, you know, I think about Warhammer all the time, but not everyone has that flexibility and freedom. Some people have got to do real stuff with their lives, which is... I envy it a little bit. So, Voltron. You still have stupidity, but you get the +1 movement characteristic. Do you think that's worth doing on this character? I think I'd maybe shave 10 points there. I guess I don't know what you'd put the 10 points into. A Charmed Shield. Yeah, I think I'd take this off, given that you've already got stupidity, and I'd go Charmed Shield instead for the 5-up ward save. Drop the shield here. I think that's just ever so slightly more reliable. And then you've got a level 2 on foot battle magic with Lore Familiar. This does let you cast Pillar of Fire or Arcane Urgency. I guess you can pick. But level 2's going to struggle to cast a lot, I guess. I don't hate having it, though. It's just the issue that you have being a Lizardman player. I'd like to see a musician here, especially if we're talking objective play. Although I guess it's slightly less important because of shield wall, but you still want to pass your combats if possible. Skink Skirmishers, you've got 12 with Vanguard, 12 with Vanguard, 10 with Javelins. Yep, all of these are good. 6 Cold One Riders, Ancient Stegodon. God, you just don't get much, do you? You really don't get much for Lizardmen. Is the giant bow right? So, what's the ballistic skill? It's really bad, isn't it? Ballistic skill 3. I think, for my money, we probably don't go the giant bow. I think we either find the 25 points for the Ancient of the Gods, or we just go for the giant blowpipes. Yes, if this hits, and obviously a 6 to hit is going to be good, but you're going to be long range and move quite a lot, so you'll be hitting just on 6s anyway. So I think the giant blowpipes with your multiple shots might be better. This is kind of flavour. I don't think it makes a huge difference, but given that you've only got 44 skinks, having an additional 2d6 shots here, I think I like as well. Just for Pillar Fireball on the Skink Priest. Yeah, I was wondering if instead of Lore Familiar, it would be better to just go Ruby Ring of Ruin. It's the same points, and then you could still roll into a second Fireball, but then you lose out on the Pillar, and Pillar is very strong, so it's hard to say. I'm not sure which way I'd go on that. But yeah, I don't think there's much to change here, other than dropping the Horned one on here, giving them a Charmed Shield, take the spears off and Saurus to add stuff. Yes, but you're pretty much capped on core, so like, if we go to that is less inefficient, but it just buys us like, what, 2 more skinks or something? It's better, but it's not, I don't think, if you're playing on objectives, I think having the spears is not awful. Like, it may do something. You're probably still just going to use the obsidian blades a lot, but, yeah. Hey, Harry. Doing well, thank you. I think this is probably how I do it. Just makes it a couple of small changes. I think the thrust of the list is good, but again, Lizardmen are kind of it's difficult to make decisions for them, in that they are pretty locked in on the things that they can choose, and you kind of just get 500 points of spiciness, and then like maybe you go slightly different on characters. Like you could go 3 Carnosaurs instead of 2 Carnosaurs and 1 on a cold one, and then a wizard. Yeah, I'd like to see a power scroll in here as well, but I just don't see any way to do that other than dropping like the biting blade and the charmed shield and going for a great weapon. Like that could go, but is that better than a single use power scroll? Like maybe not. It's a lot of difficult choices for Lizardmen. I think I'd maybe be more tempted to go for a power scroll, but also then you're going to start really worrying about ethereal. Like, this is one of the only things that can deal with ethereal for you. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope that helps, and I hope you do well. I think you're fighting the good fight with this list. It feels pretty lean. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of things that we could cut or change with it. I think you've pretty much nailed it there. Yes. Well, now, a very brief interlude before I go into the rest of the lists. We are doing well. We've picked up. We've got 43 of you here, but only 14 have liked the video. If you wouldn't mind, could I get you to give it a thumbs up if you haven't already, as that would help me get picked up by the algorithm. Helps me get seen more, even after the live stream is over, yada yada. And it means that instead of getting £3 in ad revenue, I might get a whole £5. Hashtag shill. For me. Perfect. Well, I don't know if there's anyone else here, so I'm just going to start going down the list. But if anyone is here, do shout up. And we are going to have to go a little bit faster for these ones, because I've done a lot of nattering. So, TJ... I'm pretty sure TJ posted about this one. Let's have a quick look here. TJ was right up near the start as well. This was an interesting Orcs and Goblin list, I was thinking when I was putting it in. It was a little bit different to the normal stuff that you might see. Hey, Cameron, excellent. Well, I'll do TJ's because I started that one, but I'll come for yours next. Good to see you, bud. It's been a little while since I've seen you around. Hope you are doing well. TJ says, please advise, since you played Troll Horde before. I think the Wyvern is solid, but I'm not sure about the equipment. Also change it out for a second Hag, but I think you need the Wyvern as a threat, maybe Ogdras. I like a Wyvern. So you've got Troll Hag here with General Effigy of Mork. It does make you -2 to hit in combat. That's fine. I like a Talisman of Protection on it, but you've used it on the War Boss, so that's okay. Level 2... No, you haven't even gone level 2. You've gone level 1. I think... Oh, we definitely need a Troll Magic caster in here. That is sort of non-negotiable, because otherwise you're just going to fail all your stupidity tests. But it can be this character. In fact, let's get rid of this, and let's go Ogdras. It's basically the same points. You get to pick from Troll Magic and Elementalism. You get slightly less spells, but you do get to pick big smarts, and because of that, you can not be super stupid with this unit here. All good. Tough to do the live ones with the 8-hour difference. That is super fair. That is super fair. Glad you're doing well, though. So, okay. Ooh, okay. So, over here, we've got... I think you could only have 2 units of trolls in core. Let me just have a quick look at Troll Horde. It has been a hot minute since I've scoured Troll Horde, given its current competitive state. But I do like it. I actually played it for the first coaching game that I did. I thought it would be a good one to use. 1 troll mob per 1,000 points, 1 additional troll mob per 1,000 points. Oh, per troll hound taken. Okay, cool. So you can take 3. Yay, trolls. Yeah, I think that's correct. So we are going to get rid of this unit. So let's just go triple... Here we go. So the 3 units of 4 river trolls is decent, and then you've got the 23 orcs with the spider banner. This is not enough for them to do anything useful, in my opinion. I think if you're going the spider banner, you probably want to go... let's not even bother with skirmishers. Let's just keep them as a ranked up unit. And then you just want to go something like 60. Something like that. And then we probably go something like 664? No, 644. And then you want some sort of bodyguard for Ogdras. I like... Hold on, let's do this. So, I don't love stone trolls, because they've got less wounds, but... In fact, let's just make that the squad of 2 that's bodyguarding, with great weapons. I'm making this too complicated. So I think something like this is more reasonable. Let's just get this legal. So, we've got the orc mob with the spider banner, so the poison shooting. They can teleport around with Ogdras, and he can join them if he wants to, but he probably wants to just stand next to this squad of 2 troll mob, who are going to march in column. They're just going to be there to make sure he is... bodyguarded, getting the +1 to cast, all of that good stuff. This unit teleports around and also casts, potentially cast Plague of Rust to make their poison shooting better. Then you've got the trolls, just slightly more of them. The big unit of 8 common trolls. Common trolls just don't have any special rules. I don't think they're worth going for, because you pay... Let's have a look here. 41 instead of 45. Troll, you get a better armor save and magic resist here, so I think even for your 4th unit, you still end up going for the stone trolls, even though you're paying 4 points per model more. But yeah, so you go. I think you either go big on the orc mob here, or you get rid of it entirely. What I will say as well, actually, looking at this, let's go 5 instead of 4, because you really, really want to have some ranged output. I played a list and I didn't have anyone who would... let's have a look here. Orc Big Boss, Battle Standard Bearer. And... Can I give him a bow? Can't give him a bow. Let's go hand weapon, shield, on foot. Give him the Ruby Ring of Ruin, and he can just bunker inside the poison shooting unit. So that puts us 60 points over. So maybe we just go back down like this, and then something like that. Yeah, I mean, we're missing the big unit of 8 that you had. The problem is, I think, the investment for going for the poison shooting brick is kind of high. But if you wanted to do a shooting version, this is probably the way I'd go. And I definitely want someone with the Ruby Ring of Ruin, but I also think Ogdras is really good, because you absolutely have to have Troll Magic in this list. Otherwise, these fuckers are going to fail stupidity a lot. So I think this is probably the sort of direction I go, TJ. But I think you can kind of do whatever you fancy. Troll Horde struggles a little bit, and if you accept that you're just going to struggle into a lot of matchups, even with the poison shooting, you've got a lot more flexibility. I do like the Wyvern. I did see that you asked about that. Oh, hold on. We should have heavy armor on here. Oh, and you also can't have armor of Mork on a. I'm pretty sure that's. Oh no, magic resist too. I guess that's fine. Sorry, in my head that was the full plate dead hard armor that gave you +1 toughness. I was mixing up my my things there. Hard to not look past goblins for a poison shooting list. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The problem with the poison shooting for orcs and goblins is, in fact, let's just do the equivalent. So we've got 337 points. So let's go goblins, short bows, and we'll go the poison banner. 337 we were looking for, right? So yeah, 73. That is objectively better. I want to love the orcs. You know what? That's fair. I can't argue with that. Let's just edit this one. TJ. Yeah, and you can still attach the characters to it. Here you could go a goblin instead, BSB, you know, whatever. Whatever efficiency tweaks you want to go for. I think, yeah, it makes a little bit of a difference. You can make it cheaper. But the orc does apply a slightly higher leadership than the goblin would, which is, I think, probably worth doing. So the orc BSB would give you up to leadership 10 once you combine Horde in there with the leadership 7. Harry's here, by the way, for the Renegade Skaven list. Hell yeah. Renegade Skaven. Is that... Are you Thane of the Bad Moon, Harry? That rings a bell. I do struggle with names somewhat. I did say I was going to have a look at Cameron's list first. Step 1, paint 73 goblins. Yeah, that is a problem. So TJ, if you don't want to do that, then feel free to just play with the models that you have. That's super reasonable. It is a time-consuming and expensive hobby after all. Alright. Cameron says, it's a shooty orc and goblin list based on stone throwers and 2 battle magic casters taking Gaze of Gork as the signature. Gaze is fine. I have used it. The idea is it can outshoot most lists and would not need to go forwards. Character positioning is flexible. Big Boss can join any of the Ball Boys or the Black Orcs. Weird Knobs can join or stand next to any of the infantry units. The BSB can join any infantry unit. Anti-Dragon is the 4 stone throwers, plus not having very appealing units for the dragon to charge into. That's fair. Night Goblins have thrusting spears, so they can reform into cheeky 15x2 before they get charged. That is cheeky. I still don't know that it's worth the point per model, but I'm not going to take it away. I think it's fun. Skull said, sad you're missing out, looking forward to rewatching. Ah, sorry to miss you, Skulls. But, you know, sometimes real life does kick in, I guess. So, for Cameron's list, we've got the Big Boss here, who's just super cheap and cheerful. Great weapon, full plate shield on a Warboar General. I enjoy Gaze, it always does work. Less so in my eyes for the foot models. That's where I think it struggles. I played on a Wyvern at my, I think, first tournament, and that was kind of interesting. We've got a BSB Big Boss with a War Banner on foot, but no defensive items. I'd give this at least a light armor shield. Like, it just potentially stops incidental damage coming in at you. And it's a grand total of 5 points. I think we can 5 points here. This is the normal Big Boss who runs around light armor shield. That makes a lot of sense. Level 4 on foot with Groglane Amulet and Battle Magic, and then level 4 on foot with Ruby Ring of Ruin and Battle Magic. I know you want to go Gaze of Gork. I think I would rather guarantee that I got all of the good spells on at least one of the casters. So, in fact, not this one. On the one with Ruby Ring, I think it's better to go for a Lore Familiar here, not get the... where's it gone? Gaze of Gork, which is, you know, fine but swingy and kind of hard to cast. Instead, you end up getting, like, 100% getting both of the spells here. Pillar of Fire, Lore Familiar. And then, if you need to pick into Arcane Urgency or what have you, you've got the option there. Black Orcs, you've got 16 models with the big red raggedy flag and a variety of weapons. It's just the classic, you know, do things with weapons. I'm sure you've worked it out in a way that's optimal. The way that the output spits out for, I think it was New Recruit or maybe Old World Builder, it's just hard to tell how things line up, but I'm sure you've got them lined up correctly. What else have we got in here? Is there anything we want to give the unit champion? You've already got the glowy green amulet if you want to give the unit magic resist, so I think it's fine. I don't know that you need anything. Oh, that's a point. Actually, yeah, so you've got... There's no poison shooting brick specifically in this. Yeah. Like, I think if you're going for infantry that's protecting these, this is good. Rock Clobber is 0 to 1 per 1,000 points as of the Doom Diver, right? Yeah. Yeah. I'd be tempted to try and put maybe the Bolt Throwers in, but they're probably not better than the Mangler Squig. I'd also be tempted to fit a second Mangler Squig in, but you can't on points. Okay, so that makes sense. The rare is filled up to the 9s. This is the unit of Ball Boys I really like. The combination of Big Uns, Banner of Butchery, Cav Spears means that your Strength 6 AP2, Armor Bane 1 on the charge, which is really nasty. They do hit hard. I like them for sub 200 points. They just absolutely punch. Yeah, I think this is solid. Trying to make a good list without a Poison Brick. Did contemplate Poison Savage Ball Boys. I think the Poison Ball Boys are interesting, but I don't love them. You want to pair it with Frenzy to get the most out of them, and then you just get Frenzy baited and yada yada. It's rough, I think. But yeah, so I think this is fine. I haven't made much of a change, just given this guy Lore Familiar. This is good, this is good, this is good. And we need to shave 35 points. How the hell do we do that? I guess slightly less Black Orcs is the answer. -2. Something like this. I mean, I think the actual answer is losing the thrusting spears, but it sounded like you wanted to try those out, so I don't want to take them out just for the sake of taking them out. But I think so. What I'm going to do is I've just made a couple of tweaks here. Basically, Ruby Ring, Lore Familiar on this wizard, slightly less here to cut points, and just give him light armor shield so we can hopefully survive there. I think otherwise you've pretty much maximized the idea. Realistically, the thrusting spears I don't think make any difference on this unit. And that's where I would cut points, but I think it's fun and you should try it, and I'm interested to see how it goes for you. And once you've done it, if you decide it doesn't work, just take those 60 points and put them into the Black Orcs, and I think the list is marginally better, but not enough to be like, oh, you have to make this change. Little hard to have the +7 combat res option when you're down 2 Black Orcs. Oh, bugger, yeah. Alright. Yeah, we have to leave that. I think we just have to accept this, right? And then go like 17. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna tweak around too much. I've put 18 in there, but I'm just gonna leave those last core point tweaks to you, because again, I really don't think the spears are worth the squeeze, but I think they're funny, and I'd be curious to see how it goes at least once. So you tweak the core as you fancy, because I think that's sort of where the points need to come from. But yeah, whatever version of that works best for you, I think is the way to go there. And also, you probably actually want to go up to... You probably do want to go to 18 models, because then if you've got the unit strength 2 big boss in there, and the... Oh, so you could go to 17, because then if you've got the big boss in there and... Wait, how are you getting 7? Oh, the BSB, yeah. So you've got the Night Goblin big boss and the Black Orc big boss in there. That would get you up to 20. So if you go 18, that gets you to 21. You actually might want 19 Black Orcs, so that when you've got 19 plus 1 for the big boss plus 2 for the Black Orc big boss on board, gets you to 22. You lose the unit champion to the dragon, and then you have 21, so you double outnumber even a Chaos Dragon. That might be the way to go. 19 Black Orcs is the option. We'll report back on Cheeky Spears. Hell yeah. But yeah, once you've done that, I think you want to get to 19 Black Orcs to always double outnumber the Chaos Dragon if it decides to go in. I think that's the trick. Or I guess you go 18 and just put one of the wizards in as well. That would do the trick as well. The big boss can fill 2 ranks. You only need 4 per row. Yes, but I'm just thinking in terms of numbers. So, because to make the dragon auto flee, if it fails its leadership test, you need to over double up number it, and Chaos Dragons are unit strength 10. So I was just trying to get to 21 after the champions died. I don't know if that's super important, but that was the thinking. And also maybe you give the boss a charmed shield as well, so it doesn't fall over quite as hard. Maybe you win on like 2 or 3 combat res instead of just the 1 from the musician. Yeah, perfect. Well, I think I linked that one there. Hell yeah. Let's move on to Thane of the Bad Moon. I believe this one, you said you were looking to cut 8 points. I think that was the goal for this one. Let's have a look here. Renegade Skaven. How do I save the 8 points? I know the A-bomb is bad, but I think my mini is cool. Great. That's cool. Unlikely to win. Best army or best painted could be on the table. Perfect. We'll leave that in. Put all the heroes in a 6x6 brick of Storm Vermin. Use the Gutter Runners for damage. Use the Clan Rats as chump blockers and put the Hell Pit on the flank to go and fight some non-dragon enemies. Maybe some skirmishers it can fight. Okay, cool. So you've got the Warlord, Ogre Blade, Talisman of Protection. There is actually a State of Play Skaven coming out probably on Sunday or maybe Thursday. I'll likely put it out on Sunday, where I talked to Jack Allen, who recently won a GT not only with Skaven, but with Legacy Skaven, not Renegade Skaven. At an event that allowed Renegade Skaven, he just played the old school build. I think his list is really interesting, and it's very similar with the Storm Vermin here. Obviously, you've got the Clan Rats in as well, but I'd probably be dropping them in Legacy. That's probably the first thing that would go. Yeah, it was a really fun chat. Obviously, I've played a lot of it as well. I was thinking about old Skaven wanted that buffed help. Yeah. So I think you've got weapons teams here, right? Let's put the weapons team on this. So if you're playing Legacy, it's a detachment. You get to stand and shoot, so you can just add combat res here, which I think is really important. And then we're going to take it off here because you don't necessarily. It's less important to have it with the Clan Rats. It's more important to have it with the Storm Vermin, in my opinion. You've got Demonology, so you can travel mystical pathways. You can see the shadows them, which would mean that the weapons team is not hanging around. I think a lot of the time you're actually going to play quite cagey with that unit, so I think it's still good to have it here. The Chieftain, BSB, Banner of Venice, Scurrying, Obsidian Lodestone. This is good, but I think I really like the Cautious Shield. Oh, it's 20 points. Okay, never mind. We're not fitting that in here. More familiar Warpstone Amulet. Remind me what the Warpstone Amulet does. That's the 4-up ward against non-magical attacks. I don't think you need that at all, because you can retire to the back rank with Verminous Valor. You still get to use the character's leadership. I think. Oh, actually, I guess you'd lose the spell, wouldn't you? Yeah. If you want to drop the Clan Rats and. Yeah, let's just do that, because you've got points to play with. So we're going to drop that. Then we're going to do some things. First of all, we're going to go for another Chieftain. So you've got the Chieftain BSB, who's good here. Banner of Verminous Scurrying's really nice. The Cautious Shield is on the Storm Vermin Champion. Ah, okay. I think what you do, and what... I'm just straight stealing this from... from Jack. I he had Talisman of Protection on this character as well. Yeah, so you go for this combo here. Oh, you had the Talisman of Protection on the Ogre Blade. Okay, so that's where you're different. I think... That does make it difficult. I think I still like... because you're going 6x6, it's hard to fit the characters in. You want some Skaven Brew in here, basically. You want to give them the ability to not just fall over immediately. So I think let's drop the Lodestones. You're already Magic Resist 1 from the Greyseer, and he's going to be in the unit, so he can dispel there. More Magic Resist would be nicer, but I think it's more important to get a couple of Skaven Brew, realistically. So you can get immune to psychology on the unit through frenzy. You also get more attacks out of them. I think that's better, especially when you're buffing them up with demonology, because then you can actually attack with them a little bit. Yeah, that looks good. Gutter runners with slings are great. Helper Abomination is going to stay in the list because you like it, and that's okay. I'd be tempted just to add like a Warlock Engineer with a Ruby Ring of Ruin or something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Warlock Engineer, but just someone to caddy around a magic missile. Something like this I think is good. Yeah, I think the problem is it's difficult to squeeze much more out of this, but I think the things that you definitely want in is you definitely want the Skaven Brew and the Charmed Shield. I also wouldn't hate more Warpstone, Power Scroll, sorry, on the Grey Seer, but we're struggling for points, and I don't want to make any cuts here. I think this is good. I think this works, but what I'm going to say is, so here's the tweaks that I'd make to your list. However, when the video goes up with Jack, there's a lot in there about his build, and his build is very similar to yours, so you might want to just check out his build. If you go to oldworldrankings.com and you search Jack Allen, have a look at his most recent list that he won the GT with, and even though you're playing, you know, Renegade's not Legacy, I think there's still stuff in there that's good to take from it. You're welcome, Harry. You're welcome. My pleasure. Love to see more Skaven. I've got a real soft spot for them. Just as a faction, I love them thematically. I don't necessarily love how they play on the table at the moment, but, you know, maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll get some proper set rules for them and the game will change down the line and I'll bust them back out. Okay. Was there anyone else here? No, I think that was just you two. Yeah, perfect. So let's go through the rest. So Skull said he was sad that he was missing out, looking forward to rewatching. So Skulls, if you're rewatching, this is where your list comes up. Let's have a quick look at what you've got on here. Skulls. The problem with so many people submitting as well is that it becomes a real trek to scroll through to get up to where everything else is. Here we go. Renegade Pack Lizardmen going to one day event tomorrow. I know there are Bretonian lists attending. I'm sick of losing to them, so I'm trying to list tailor against it. Hell yeah, brother. Big fan of that. Not in general, but specifically for Lizardmen. For not Lizardmen, for Bretonians. So you've got the Slan with a war banner, and you've gone but Calming Cogitation. Yep, that's good. And then you've got Lawful Meal, Power Scroll, Ruby Ring of Ruin, Elementalism. Yeah, this is disgusting. This is the one thing in the Renegades pack that I think shouldn't exist. Like, you can still cast spells when you're tied up in combat. This is very not okay. However, it's what we have. So, hey Fitch, how you doing? So yeah, this is a very good loadout. Then we've got the Carnosaur, which is an old blood, and you've gone Shield Carnosaur, Talisman Protection, Blade of Reverend Sunuki, or Sunuki, I should say. I think it's just better to go Ogre Blade, honestly. Like, it's the same points. I think Ogre Blade is just better into the things that you're going to want to fight. Also, you may as well drop the Halberd here, because you can't use it. Shield is fine, because the Carnosaur only has heavy armor. Yeah, and you're wearing heavy armor and shield, so you're a better save there. And you've got a Talisman of Protection? Yep, great. I would go here. I'd also add in a Skink Priest to cast spells through. That's really strong. Even just a level 1 I think is really strong. Then we've gone Bastillodon, Stegodon, Engine of the Gods. We're going to struggle to fit this Skink Priest in, aren't we? Yeah. Alright, we might just have to drop it. That's a shame. Like, it is really strong, but I don't think there's any way that we're finding the points for it. I'd like to see a level 1 Skink Priest in there, but that's fine. Temple Guard, Standard, Jaguar Standard. That is the... Oh, yeah. Extra Pursuit. I think I'd rather just see... Oh, you've got the War Banner already. Yeah. Yeah. I guess War Banner it is. And with the Jaguar Standard, I guess there is a very small chance that you catch a unit with Swift Stride. You're not likely to, but it gives you, some flexibility. I think I'm probably testing to restrain, given that my very expensive Slan Priest is in there, but for 20 points I don't hate it. Skinks. I believe that you're capped to, it's 0 to 1 unit for Scouts or Vanguard, so I don't believe it's legal for you to have Scouts and Vanguard, unfortunately. So we've got to, let's drop the Scouts and just go 2 units of Vanguard and give one of them an extra 2 models. Or give both of them an extra 2 models. Because you can't have 4 here, you can only have 2 in total, I believe. Just in terms of how the syntax is followed. So, double skink skirmishers, 2 with Vanguard, 2 without, 2 Bastiladons, Engine Stegodon. I think this is good. I think it's a good amount of shooting. You're going to Plague of Rust into their Peg Knights, and then you're going to absolutely blow them off the table. And the +1 to cast here, I really want to have a level 2 Lore Familiar. That's a point. You don't need the Lore Familiar on the Slan, because you're getting 5 spells anyway. So that's a little excessive. You also get reroll one of the d6s and 1 additional spell. It's probably still worth taking the Power Scroll. That's probably just still good. But if we just drop the Jaguar Standard here, we'd only need to shave 7 points somewhere to fit in a level 1 priest. Is there anything we can do there? I don't think there is. I think we're pretty much locked up on points. Because this is like a good aggressive build. Yeah. No, that's unfortunate. The Skink Chief doesn't have the Arcane Vessel rule, does it? No. I think the Stegodon doesn't either, does it? No. It's literally just the priest here. Okay, so we can drop the Lore Familiar. If we're dropping the Lore Familiar, what do we get? You could go Wand of Jet. And the reroll that you have in there... How many points have we got? We've got a lot of points. So Wand of Jet is interesting. Because it gives you +1 to... Oops, that's the wrong thing. +1 to cast or dispel. But because you are playing the Renegade Slan, you can reroll one of the casting dice. So if you roll a double, you can just reroll it. Izzy says, think you're playing the Old World. Hell yeah. Glad to have you. Old World's a lot of fun. Have you played Fantasy before? I think I'm gonna copy and paste this. I think this is probably where I'd end up skulls. I really want the level 1 priest in there, but I'm just gonna struggle to find a way to get it in, I think, unfortunately. The only realistic way you can do it is by shaving points on this Old Blood. Instead of going for this build, you go for the Armour of Ages and Great Weapon. Not Armour of Ages, sorry. The Armour of Destiny and Great Weapon. Sadly, no. No worries. Well, it's a great game. It's a fun one to play. There's Warhol is a good platform to play Fantasy on. It's much better than if you're coming from something like 40k. It's much better to play on than Tabletop Simulator. So I'd recommend getting into it. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm here making videos for Old World, but I really enjoy it. Alright. Let's have a look at James V's list. Let's have a look, James. What did you say? So this was an interesting one. You like elves? Elves are fun. I'd say in terms of the ones to recommend, High Elves are good. They're not one of the best armies in the game. They're probably a top 6, top 8 army. They're pretty solid. But they are well supported. They've got a good range of models. A lot of them are quite new. Wood Elves are struggling a little bit at the moment, but they're very fun as well. Dark Elves are maybe my favourite version of Elves, but they are legacy, so they're not necessarily getting support from Games Workshop. So I'd recommend High Elves out of the 3, but Wood Elves are the number 2 choice I'd go with. So James says, I'm planning to take a list to a 2-day tournament, don't really have any restrictions, but you'd like to bring the dragon, I think the dragon's pretty okay if we're talking the Renegade pack. Planning on popping the level 4 in BSB and the Black Knight bus and mainly keeping them out of the thick of it while the dragon and Blood Knights clear up. That's fair. Dragon get a cheeky turn 2 res of the Black Knights if needed for 3 black. That's fine. Skullstaff seems MVP. I do like Skullstaff. Not particularly keen on Screams. Can I sneak a Banshee in? Mort is very strong but hard to fit in a list with the dragon. Yeah, so if you're playing the dragon, you are accepting that you don't get the stuff that's just traditionally good, unfortunately. And that's okay. So we're not going to be able to sneak a Banshee in unless we drop this down to, at the very least, an Abyssal Terror. But I think if you want to play the dragon, let's play the dragon. So if we're critiquing the list, I actually think the list to the build is pretty good. But let's go with full plate and shield. If you're playing the Renegade list, you are able to wear armor and cast spells, so there's no downside to doing that. Lore Familiar Crown of the Damned is really good. Power Scroll is good as well. And then you've gone for Master of the Dark Arts and Master of the Black Arts and Dark Renegade. So you get to res with this, and Master of the Black Arts gives you +1 to Wizard. You pick Wood Elves. Wood Elves are fun, and they're just coming out. Loads of videos on the channel for Wood Elves. It's been a Wood Elf week, so every day, not today, but from last Friday to today, I put out a video or a stream about Wood Elves. So there's plenty on there to wet your whistle on if you're interested in learning more. Yeah, so you're 4 points over. Okay, maybe that's why I haven't gone full plate shield, which would only give you +1 to your save, because the dragon does have the 4-up armor save. Okay, so immediately change that. That's good. Heavy armor, Helm of Commandment, Charm Shield. This is good. Standard of Hellish Vigor. This is the reserve move, right? Yeah, so this wizard doesn't need to go reserve move. What are you taking instead of reserve move? Lore of Undeath. Dance Macabre, I guess? Yeah, Dance Macabre's nice. Especially if you cast it on the zombie dragon. Give it extra weapon skill or something like that, or movement to increase the charge range. Okay, that's fine. Crypt Ghouls, normally I wouldn't say have a unit champion here, but this makes sense. Fellbats are nice, Blood Knights. So the only difference that I'd probably make is you said that you wanted this unit to do most of the heavy lifting, so we're going to put the Drakenhof banner here. We're going to take it off the Black Knights. I know it does make them squishier, and it is where you're bunkering some of your stuff, but I think it's just wiser to do it this way around. We are going to put the Standard of Hellish Vigor on them and take it off the White Lord, like so. The reason for that is if you want this unit to stay out of trouble and this unit to do the heavy lifting, it just makes sense to have them be the ones to carry the additional regen. So this makes the unit really hard to chip through with a 2-up save and a 5-up regen. Other than that, I think you've pretty much got the list where you want it. Like, you could make some tweaks to core. The Crypt Ghouls, you could go a couple of smaller units, but I think the bigger unit's fine because you've got the possibility of rezzing them, which is super reasonable. And Skullstaff, the Skullstaff, for anyone who doesn't know, is disgusting. It's +3 to Dispel range and +1 to Dispel. It's just any army that has that and a spell familiar, that is like the go-to for your defensive ability. So not too much tweaks on there, but I hope some of the discussion points were useful there for you, James. Cool. Wood Elves, the battalion box is amazing if you're new. Yeah, that is... So, I wanted to put a here's what to buy for High Elves video out last week, but obviously we got the Wood Elf rules early, so I'll probably put that out next Thursday or something like that. But for Wood Elves, I'm not going to do one, because their battalion box is just pretty good. You prefer Banner of the Barrows on the Black Knights. Let's have a look. I need to remind myself what the Banner of the Barrows does. 65 points. Yeah, so he's basically using this as a bunker for his stuff, and he's not wanting it to be a mainstay unit. It is solid, but he's got the Helm of Commandment in there already, so you don't need to double up. Is it worth starting with an Elf Noble? Yeah, Elf Nobles are good. Like, so the Lords, the Lords on Stags specifically are really good. They are solid. Okay, so that is James's list. Let's have a look at Jordan's list. So Jordan is still trying to make Empire work. The absolute Chad. You're always going to need nobles. I agree. You typically want mounted ones at the moment. The foot ones aren't great, which is a shame because the models look beautiful. If you cut the White Lord, you can fit 2 Banshees. Yeah, but you lose a lot. You wouldn't be able to take the Black Knights in core. You haven't got anyone to put the Helm of Commandment on. Like the whole sort of core system falls apart, unfortunately. Okay, so Jordan says, going to a tournament that has a 2.4k list allowance, rule of 3, rule of 6 in core, playing Empire because you're a masochist. This is the list. There's an alternative. I've been playing with the idea of dropping a tank and taking 3rd Wizard Lords or some Demigriffs, but I'm not sure if it's better. The plan here is to tie things up with the tanks that don't fight well into them, take what points I can off the board, and play a defensive, evasive game using illusion and battle magic casters for mobility. That is a good plan. So you've got a oh, I think that's meant to be a battle magic caster. Yes, this one's meant to be battle magic, not demonology. Okay, so engineer and foot, that's good. We've got the general on... I might be tempted to just go with a lance here. Oh, have we got... Ah, yeah, got the twice blessed armor. So you've got the 2-up armor... Oh, the 3-up armor save. With that and the shield. I guess because you can't get to a 2-up save, the great weapon makes sense. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, great weapon, shield, Imperial Griffin, Dragon Blow, White Cloak's really nice against... It's just the better Talisman of Protection. Twice blessed armor for... I want to say for Hammerhand. Yeah. What an upgrade. To be fair, if that was extremely common, I'd love to take that for High Elves as well. So, Wizards are good, Pegasus, Tome of Midnight, Battle Magic is great, Pegasus, Ruby Ring, Lore Familiar, and this is the Illusion Caster, right? I think I would make a slight tweak here. For me, I think you take the Ruby Ring off the Illusion Caster, and you put it on the Battle Magic Caster. The reason for that, and it is nice to have things spread out a little bit, but the reason for that is this one is going to do all of your damage threats, and this one is going to do the, oh god, I've got to position very carefully to make sure that I'm hexing my opponent's dragon, and you don't want to be doing that and then ending up in a position where you accidentally are out of range to Masmit Mirage it or similar. So I think it's better to have this one doing the damage and this one doing the hexing. That's my thinking anyway. Archers with Scout, you're probably not going to use them with Scout, but they do fill up a wood nicely for the Green Knight. 12 Knights of the White Wolf with Charm Shield, Hunter's Ward, Icon of Morr. Wolfhammer Shields, yep, full upgrades. 6 with full upgrades apart from Standard Bearer, that makes sense. Triple Cannon, double Steam Tank. It's hard to say what I'd do here. I think I'd be tempted to go for a 3rd Wizard, but you've already used Lore Familiar and Tome of Midnight, and I don't know that there's anything I'd rather put there. I think you've kind of optimized it. This kind of feels like the limit of what we can do. I would change the Ruby Ring around here. Other than that, I don't think I'm really making any tweaks. So let me just put that in there. And as always, feel free to ping me, Jordan, if you think there's anything that needs to be discussed or tweaked there. Alright, Garrison. Garrison's list was Warriors of Chaos. I'm going to get a Noble and Arcane Journal today when you get home. Hell yeah. They're lovely models, and while the Foot Nobles are not super optimal at the moment, everything's cyclical. At some point the Foot Nobles will be pretty good, I assume. And they're just lovely models, so I wouldn't be upset about having them, and I wouldn't be upset about playing them. You can still probably do something interesting with them. Garrison says, this is my to-be tournament list archetype, please give me some pointers. Yes, so this is a pretty archetypical Warriors of Chaos list. I think you've... I don't want to say it writes itself, but the choices have become pretty, like, nailed in, so I think you've pretty much got it right. So we've got the Marker Nurgle on Steed, Ogre Blade, Paymaster's Coin, double Favour of the God, Enchanting Aura character. Going to be running around and killing everything. Sorcerer Lord, level 4, on Steed, Ruby Ring, a Ruin Spell Familiar, Infernal Puppet, joins the Marauder Horseman. I will tweak those in a second. The thing that you have gone different is a second Sorcerer Lord, which is disgusting, but I love it. It's going to do a lot of damage. So you've gone slightly tankier here, so it can join in with the Chaos Knights and give them a ward save. I approve of that. This is a sort of spell points denial use of the Chaos Knights, I think, because you're making them very hard to shoot and cast spells on. So in core, you've got the Chaos Knights with Blasted Standard. I don't love that normally, but rerolling your armor saves of 1 while also having a 5-up ward save from the Sorcerer Lord, that's enough tankiness that you actually kind of just don't die. So I think that's probably good. 5 Warhounds with Vanguard. I wouldn't hate a second unit, but you're going to struggle for points for them. And then 8 Marauder Horsemen, Musician. Right, here, you want to give them the unit champion, because if you're putting a Sorcerer Lord in there, you get caught by a dragon. You want to make sure that you've got someone to eat a challenge with. To get those points, let's just change the flails to Cavalry Spears. Nice and easy. We haven't had to make any differences there. Dragon Ogre with the black and plate is good, and then we've got the Warpfire Dragon. This is pretty optimal. Hopefully you watch this back, Garrison, because the tweaks that I'd consider making is you don't necessarily have to go for the Blasted Standard here. You could juice them up a little bit more and go with like a Demonology caster, but it kind of looks like you're just using them to deny points and to sort of posture with a little bit, and then potentially have them run around with high saves. So maybe you shave a couple of points here, take some more Warhounds. Like you could drop 1 unit of Knights, 1 model, and get another unit of Warhounds. You'd have to shave like 3 points elsewhere. But otherwise, I think this is pretty good. I think it's pretty optimal. I prefer the double Dragon Ogre Shah attack with Great Weapon instead of the upgraded one with Black and Plate, but you'd have to make a lot of cuts in core and characters to make that happen. So let's just export that one here and go. Cool. What have we got next? So we've got Tom B's Renegade Chaos Dwarfs. Now this list looks kind of familiar, and it's making me wonder, are you the Tom B that I played at the last 2 Saffron Slams I've been to? It might not be, but it was a Tom B, and also they were playing Chaos Dwarves, and also they were playing Renegades, and also there's some similarities in the list, so I'm kind of just curious. But yeah, this list is brutal. It's going to be so hard to interact with it. So you've gone for the Sorcerer Prophet on a Lamassu. You've gone Demonology, which is obviously good for buffing up, but I actually don't know that I want Demonology if I'm playing a Lamassu instead of a Taurus. I think I'd maybe be tempted to go Elementalism. In fact, let me just double check that I haven't just not put the spell lore on there. I think I copy and pasted the JSON file, so I think this is correct, but I do want to just make sure that I'm not just editorializing unfairly. Let's have a look here. Tom B. I eat Ogre Blaze for breakfast. Yeah, Demonology. I think you don't go Demonology unless you're going for a Taurus, because I don't think the Lamassu has the attacks to make Demonology worthwhile. So I'd probably just go Elementalism, roll my 4 spells, and then go for Storm of Ash as well. I think that's better. The Seneschal on a Taurus here, Mantle of Stone, Enchanted Shield. I think that's really strong. I would be giving it some sort of weapon. I guess you've got the hand weapon, and it is a BSB with a war banner. This is probably fine, actually. I like this. This is very similar to the sort of Chariot BSB tanky builds that I go for. Although it's T6, which is nice, but then it's only, what, a 3-up save and a single, well, like a 6-up ward. I'd be a little concerned about that, but I think it's difficult to get all of the things that you want onto that. I'd maybe prefer to see it... you can't give it... There's only 1 ward save, right? There isn't a second one that you can give, unless I'm forgetting something. Yeah, there's no way to give this model a ward save because you only have 1. Yeah. I think I'd actually rather see a Charmed Shield on this. Like, obviously, it's worse if you're getting shot by a lot of poison arrows, but just against the things that actually are going to kill it, I think a Charmed Shield's better. We've got a Great Weapon, Charmed Shield, Warboar. The Warboar's interesting, but it's just going to bunker in the Black Orcs, so I think this is super fine. It's T6. It's got a 3-up save, I guess, and he's relatively choppy. And then you've got the Khan with the throwing weapons. The change that I would make is I'd give this model a Ruby Ring of Ruin. I think that would make sense, unless you've got it on... Yeah, you haven't got the Ruby Ring of Ruin in here already, so I think if we can fit the Ruby Ring of Ruin onto this guy, that would make a lot of sense. And then we've got the... How are we going to make this work? Alright, so instead of Enchanted Shields, let's give them Charm Shields. Again, like, it's slightly worse against volume, but they're T7. They're not taking volume of saves. They're more worried about taking a cannonball, being wounded on 2s, taking flat 4 damage. Charm Shield's going to be better there. We're 25 points over. That's why we haven't got the Ruby Ring of Ruin, because we can't fit it. Is there anything that we tweak? Like, honestly, does this guy need to be T6? We're spending 50 points to give him T6, right? I don't think that's worth doing. I think we just go normal full plate. We do give this guy the Ruby Ring of Ruin. The reason I say I don't think it's worthwhile is even at T6, he doesn't challenge a dragon and survive. Like, he just still falls over, which is depressing. Trollhead Trousers, at the very least, we want to give him a Charmed Shield. Even if he doesn't need it, if he doesn't use it, it's 5 points. I think that would be how I'd tweak the characters. Yeah, that makes sense here. We've got the big red raggedy flag, Collar of Zorgra, and Charmed Shield. So the Collar of Zorgra is -1. Right, so the -1 to hit for the dragons. That's fine, but again, even at T6, you're not actually surviving because they're T7. So I don't think that is worth doing. I think you're going to get more out of having the Ruby Ring there, and then like an additional Hobgoblin here. Oh, they don't have shortbows? Shortbows, reserve, move, and feign flight. This is really good to give them this combination of rules. Musician as well. Fuck. Oh, then we're super over on points. So I'd have to cut 2, which I can't do. So you're just using this as a melee unit? It's not a good melee unit, though. 6 points available. And give it the reserve move. Yeah, I think this is the tweaks that I'd make for this. And use the Hobgoblin Khan as a pseudo-ranged unit with the reserve move Hobgoblin Wolf Riders. Then you've got the 2 T7 units here. You've got the Sorcerer Prophet to assist. I think I'd like to see it on a Taurus in this list, but that really throws your points out of whack. We probably have to drop the Hobgoblin Khan to do that. And then this guy, the BSB's fine. He's like relatively tanky. But I did one round a very similar one. If it wasn't you that I was playing against, if you're a different Tom, I did one round basically that exact character with a dragon, without breaking too much of a sweat, unfortunately. Cool, cool, cool. Alright, how are we doing on the list? We've got a couple left here. We've got some Dark Elves, some Beastmen, and some Orcs, but no poison shooting. Sounds good. Let's go to the Beastmen optimization first, because I know that was pretty close down to the end of the list in terms of where I've got to scroll to. So, if I remember correctly, this list has done pretty okay at a couple of RTTs. My Beastmen list has already done well and placed top 3 in a couple of one-day events, but probably could be optimized a fair bit. Doom Bull sits with the Gore, level 2 with the Skirmish Gore. Cool, sounds good. So, you've got the really beefy Ogre Blade Doom Bull. That is a threat that you have to deal with. Great Bray Shaman, who's got Elementalism, Flying Carpet. This really worries me when I see this. Like, I know, I understand why it works, I just worry. I think if you're doing it, let's give you Uncanny Senses. This is something that I'm stealing from Tom Carley. Shout out, Team England's Beastman player. Gets +1 modifier to your initiative. The reason for that is the rule evasive, or evade, sorry. Let me just show you evade, because a lot of you won't have seen this rule. If you're a character, and you're going to be overrun into, so one of your units dies or flees, and the enemy unit is going to overrun into you, you can take an initiative test here, and if you pass, you may move a number of inches up to your movement characteristic away from enemy units. And then the enemy unit completes its pursuit move. You can't go closer to enemies, but It's really solid. It means that you get to, because you start off at initiative 4, I think? Yeah. Get to initiative 5, you only fail on a 6. It makes you a little bit less likely to fall over. Bray Shaman, Rebering Rune, Demonology. Yeah, this is good. I wouldn't hate seeing a Power Scroll in here as well, because you're probably going to be swapping into Viletide, so let's just make sure that the turn that you need it to go off, you get to go off. 23 Gauze with a True Horn, with a Charm Shield, a Standard Bearer with a War Banner, and a Musician, additional hand weapons. This is fine. Yeah. I'd take the Great Weapon as well, because it's free. I don't think there's anything stopping you from doing so, so you may as well. I think a lot of the time you're going to strike with it, because you've got the Doom Bull who wants to be in challenges, but I guess this character will soak a dragon challenge and maybe not give up the max unit strength there. I wouldn't hate seeing a Battle Standard Bearer in this unit as well. Tuskor, Razor Gore. Are these Gore meant to be ambushing? Does it say the Skirmish Gore unit? No, okay. Dragon Opers, Harpies, Gorgon, Jabberslythe. So the Gorgon is overcosted for what it does, but it's kind of okay. I think the Jabberslythe is really bad. I think this is sort of like the weakest part of the list. I would be removing that, and I'd be putting in a Wargore BSB, who is going to help the Gore get up to a higher... well, you can do one or two things. You can either get to more combat res, although I don't know that you've got... what do we got here? Is there anything that you can give? No. So there's nothing that you can give to make a unit have more combat res. Okay, that's fine. So the Gore, how do we get to 7 combat res? They've got Horde, so that's rank. They've got Open Order, that's a problem. Banner, War Banner, BSB, that's 6. Is there a way to get +1 to the combat res outside of that? I don't think so. I think the reroll's really strong, and I think Totem of Rust paired with the Doom Bull, so that you're effectively at AP 4, that just means that you actually can threaten to kill a dragon. And I think the BSB aspect of it is worth taking. At which point you take the Great Weapon, because you don't care about the armor save anyway, and you probably also want to go... what's it called? Slugskin is... So we probably put Slugskin on this thing, and then the challenge character doesn't need to be the one that holds it. What else do we want to give it? I think... Many-limbed Fiend is bad here. Gnarled Hide doesn't actually matter because we're making you ignore armor saves. Yeah, okay. We don't need Gouge Tusks if we're going for the Manbane standard. So I think this is just a little bit safer to go here, although you probably want to give this thing, at the very least, a Charm Shield. You know what? I think it's I'm talking out my arse. It's not actually safer to give this model the Slugskin, because he's going to fall over potentially. So let's go Charm Shield, Heavy Armor, Great Weapon. Even though you're still going to give yourself -2, you get a 6-up armor save. Yeah, so we'll put the Slugskin back there. We've got the BSB just to get more combat res into the unit. You potentially might win if you can stop them getting the full 7. And then this thing's going to do work as well. Yeah, I think that works. And then how many points you got? I guess we just go a few more Gore, right? Great Weapon, Heavy Armor. This is perfect. Harpies. Harpies are good. Just a nice skirmisher unit. I guess this unit can just go a couple more models, just because we're filling out stuff there. I don't think there's anything that you're particularly missing in here. So yeah, that looks good to me. Oh, hold on. No, that's not true. Oh no, you've got Talisman Protection. Yeah, so you don't even need a Charm Shield. I'm just trying to double up and give you additional ward saves. Cool. I think that works. So we'll go at... whose list was this here? Tazarkan. Do bear in mind that the core Wood Elf rules are in the Forces of Fantasy, Arcane Journal is great, and the rules are online, but just so you're not surprised if you didn't see missing. Good shout there, Matthew. As said, you can pretty easily find the Forces of Fantasy PDF online. I wouldn't know where to do that, but I'm sure if you Google, they will come up. Let's have a look then at some Dark Elves. Thatanos said that he knows I don't like Witch Elves, but Thatanos likes them, which is fair. You know, there's nothing wrong with liking things that I don't. I don't think they're efficient, but if you want to build a list around them, that's super reasonable. We can absolutely do that. I'm just checking if they said anything else. That just stuck with me when I was looking at the list. You don't like Witch Elves, but they are cool. Biggest questions are how to spend out the last handful of points and how to mount the Sorceress. Okay, cool. So we've got the Ogre Blade Death Hag. Makes perfect sense to me. If you're doing it, you do it that way. You've got a level 4 Tome of Fury and Dark Pegasus. Focus Familiar Pendant of Caleth Demonology. You don't need the Pendant of Caleth on here. How many points are you spending? Executioner's Axe. Ooh, okay. I would not be spending my points on an Executioner's Axe for that guy. Like, let's just tweak this here. So, if you want to give this character a ward save, you can do. That's fine. You don't need the upgrade on the Pendant of Caleth. So let's just give you here Talisman of Protection, and we'll give you the Ruby Ring of Ruin as well, because it's so strong. Dark Elves really need to squeeze all of the range damage out of their sorceresses that they can. Then this character here, we're going to go Pendant of Caleth. And then if you want to go damage, there's not a great option, I'll be honest. There's not a lot that you can do. All of the Dark Elf ones kind of suck. You could go Headsman's Axe, which is not good, but it's, you know, similar to the Killing Blow. I wouldn't do that. I think I'd be tempted just to go Sword of Might, and then Shield of Grond, if you want to make the dragon super tanky. Or you could just go Great Weapon. I typically just run Great Weapon, but this is a pretty offensive build, and it won't get stuck dealing with ethereal units, which is something that we do have to worry about. We can take the shield off there. So something like that. I think I'm moving towards, if you're running a single dragon, going the full defensive build with the Sword of Might is probably the way I would look at doing it. I also like a level 2 Sorceress as well, but if you go in the Death Hag, you haven't got points for it. 15 Witch Elves, full command, Banner of Harganeth. That makes sense. You gotta do what you gotta do. 10 Repeated Crossbows, 8 Dark Riders. Yep, that looks fine in terms of core. I like having more Dark Riders, but if you're playing with what you've got, you know, this is fine. I'd go like 2 units of 8 and then drop the Witch Elves to like 12 or something, but it's not a problem. Not having the Banner of Harganeth kind of sucks here, though. I actually don't know if you need the Banner of Harganeth. Obviously, they won't do anything without it, but the Cold One Knights are so good with it. Ah, you had the Ruby Ring of Ruin here. I think you can very comfortably put it on the Supreme Sorceress. Let's not make this unit confused. I like doing it when I'm running Double Dragon, but that's just because I can't fit it elsewhere. So here, we'll just go for the normal loadout. If you wanted, I'm starting to see Magic Resist as more and more necessary on big units, like expensive units like this that want to get in. So maybe double Obsidian Lodestone is the way to go there. I think I'm just going to say, let's get that Rampaging Banner off. Let's give them the Banner of Harganeth. And let's just accept that you don't need the extra AP here. It's literally just the Death Hag that's going to do the damage. At which point we do need to up the numbers slightly. Which, I guess, for the sake of it... Eugh. It's a clumsy amount of points. 7 points missing. Of course, that's only 5 points. Let's just give them Veteran as well. Like, Veteran's fine on them. I think it's worth the 10 points to give them the reroll to leadership, because they're going to be outside of the Dreadlord's leadership roll there. Like, it's I wouldn't bother, but we have to get above the points, and I don't want to just buy more Witch Elves. That feels inefficient. And then here... I mean, this unit may as well have another model, which puts us 1 point over. Of course it does. Maybe we go... Oh. If we take off Veteran, we go like that, it's exactly the same. I don't know that there's an easy tweak that we can make here in terms of getting the core right. I mean, to be honest, I think we can drop the great weapons here. I don't think that does anything. So we could just go here, then your 1995. That feels better, and then you can just give this a lordling. I think this is the tweaks that I'd make to your list. Oops, let's go back here. So obviously you know that I don't like the the witch elves, but if you're going for them, I think let's go with the tanky dragon that can still tangle with basically anything. The Supreme Sorceress is like the real range damage pump unit. The Death Hag joining the Witch Elves is fine. We've taken the banner off so you don't give up the points when they definitely die in combat, but also it's only the Death Hag that's going to really do damage, so it's kind of whatever over here. Made some tweaks just to get you above the 500 points. Dark Riders are fine. Cold One Knights, I think Banner of Hargoneth is too good on them not to give them. Magic Resist is really strong on a big unit of knights like this, and it's probably the direction I'll start moving in. And then Unit of Harpies is decent. Unit of Shades is, I think, underwhelming, but they're fine. You know, it's not bad to take them. 6 of them can just be a little bit annoying, standing there with some, you know, plinky shots, making your opponent have to split their focus a little bit. So I think this is fine. So let's go at Thanatos. Last but not least, we have bags, no poison brick. Let's have a look in here. This was one of the lists posted towards the near the end, near the cutoff. Where are we looking here? Is it possible to write a semi-competitive Night Goblin list without the Orcs or the teleporting 100-man poison brick? So that's the restriction, and I think it is, and I think you've basically got there. So let's just start off by going... You've got... Okay, so you've got a smaller poison shooting brick with Fanatics. I think that's fine. So you've got one unit of nearly 40, 39, with poison. And then you've got 9 Fanatics here. So this is already just decent. These are okay. These two are okay. And the Mangler Squigs are fine. I think... I feel like I maybe want the Rock Lobbers, but the Rock Lobbers are so underwhelming. And you'd lose 2 Mangler Squigs for it, so maybe we don't do that. Let's have a look at the characters, see if they're okay. So Idler Gork is the reroll, casting roll, and plus 3-inch range. It's really nice for the hexes, and this is War Magic, so you're looking to basically swap into the minus toughness spell, which is Itchy Nuisance. Then we've got a level 4, so 2 level 4s on foot with War Magic. I think you still want an Elementalism caster. I know you're not... Oh... Yeah, okay, let's swap this for an Elementalism caster with Lore Familiar. I know you're not playing the Poison Shooting Brick, but Itchy Nuisance is still going to be really nice for your list. So let's just go with that. Odd Knob, level 4, Elementalism, and let's go Lore Familiar. Does that mean... Is the Goblin Odd Knob the highest leadership? That's really funny. Does that change anything? Does that ruin things? I don't think so. I think this character's less likely to die than the melee general. We can go like that. That's okay. And this just gives you the flexibility of putting a ward save on the unit, being able to teleport a unit out of Dragon's way. Lots of his stuff has high AP. He's still got 39 poison shots, and then getting the getting 2-up saves down to no save on the Fanatics. The Doom. I think Plague, like Elementalism's still worth having. Like even if you're just looking at the Night Goblin poison shooting brick. But yeah, AP3 to AP5 is disgusting for 2-up save stuff, which is kind of the only thing that can tank through here. I don't feel like double War Magic is better than Elementalism here. War Boss with... like Giant Blade's no good. We don't go Giant Blade here. what we could do is you could go the... where's it gone? The Walloper's one-hit wonder. That would actually do some damage. Does it just become a regular hand weapon after them? Yeah, so... yeah, you got someone with a double foot. Yeah, I mean, you could roll double foot, but I don't think that's good. I think it exists, but I don't think it's good. I guess also take the Sword of Might here, because the Walloper's one-hit wonder will only work once, and then you may as well do something with it afterwards. This is maybe overkill, but like I just like the idea of using the Walloper's one-hit wonder. In fact, let's just go Sword of Might, because Giant's Blade with no extra AP is just bad. Although, actually, nope, take it back. You're going to Plague of Rust. There we go. That's my justification for Plague of Rust. You got Giant's Blade. Here, BSB, Trollhide Trousers. You probably don't need to worry about keeping all your characters alive, but they're also, like, you don't not need to worry. I think it's fine to do. I think it's excessive, honestly. I think let's take off on the BSB, the Trollhide Trousers. Yeah, like this is more than you need. That can be where you source the points from, and then just add another Night Goblin in here. I think something like this is fine, and the problem is you're still gonna struggle against dragons. But I think this is probably the direction I'd go with for your list. But yeah, this is one that I don't know. I'm struggling to find great efficiency tweaks here that I'd love to make. So feel free to, if you've got any thoughts, bag, post in the Orcs and Goblins section and then tag me, like at Edward6++, and I will be able to weigh in more if there are additional thoughts to look at there. Cool. Well, that takes us to the end. We've been live for 2.5 hours. I like the natter, but it may be too much. Or I just need to cut down on the number of lists that I do, because 18 took us 2.5 hours. I think I might just need to stick to a hard and fast 15. I think that might be the way to do things. But it's difficult because so many people want their lists to be fixed, which again is a really nice problem to have. So yeah, lovely. Well, thank you so much for hanging out this evening. Hope you've all enjoyed. I'll have a Skaven State of Play video coming out on Saturday. I will probably have a what to buy video for High Elves coming out on Thursday. I do need to line up another really exciting interview with a big content creator for Old World, which I've spoke to them about. I just haven't followed up with now that they've been to the event that we were going to talk about. So I need to line that one up. But that might be next Saturday, or it might be the Thursday after that, or it might be the Saturday after that. Who can say? But have a lovely weekend. I am going to catch up on life admin, do some work. I hope you all enjoy the weather